Yeah, no, you're fine. Looked up and they were
interesting.
chatting. I was like, oh yeah, I should probably turn those on, shouldn't I?
Hi, Chad.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I
We.
wonder who
Oh
is.
my
I
gosh.
should probably pull up the stream actually, because I did let I let Receptor know, a friend of mine from
Nice.
AMC, and I also let a buddy of mine that I know in real life know, hey, we're doing this. If you want to hear the discussion, show up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, Exo Stranger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching the cutscene at the end of the main campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Where the Exo Stranger hands you her gun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and of course, the moment I pull up the stream, I have an ad for. I think this is for the new show by the guys that made Rick and Morty.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, Solar Opposites.
Yeah. Hello, Pens.
All right, I gotta go find a strike with a fallen boss.
Do the
I can
Exodus
never.
Black Strike. Exodus, the one where.
It's Exodus Down. It's
Yep.
the only. I
Oh,
believe
that
it's,
one. Isn't that the only one?
Yeah, it is.
That's
It's
why
the
I can
only
never
one in the
remember
game.
it. I'm like, I can never. When I get the bounty, it's like fallen boss. I'm like, oh no, I gotta remember which one it is.
I think
There's.
Warden of Nothing counts as something else. I don't think it counts as fallen.
Yeah, Warden of Nothing.
Does,
it doesn't.
Really?
I think.
Why?
It
It's a
doesn't.
servitor.
I don't know, but I ran it as one of the weekly strikes, and it did not toggle for me. So maybe it glitched out.
Oversight.
It's really annoying because Warden of Nothing's also the one that they've had repeated issues with because there for the longest time.
Why does it count as Scorn? That's not a Scorn servitor. That's a fallen servitor that Varix used. Come on, Bungie.
That was also the one. That was also the one that was on the Tangled Shore, but it wasn't counting toward Tangled Shore kills for the strike bounties.
Oh my god!
For like, it was like, yeah, it was like a month or two that there was a known bug, and they were trying to figure out why it was, and it was something like, it was because the way they had saved it, like the hierarchy of where they had it, it wasn't technically part of the Tangled Shore. It was part of like the reef or whatever. And so the bounty, it was like, it wasn't wrong. It was the bounty was looking at the wrong, like basically field value. And it's like, no, that's not kills. And everyone's like, we are killing things, like hundreds of things in the strike, and it is not counting towards this. I remember because Warden of Nothing has always been kind of like the wonky one that they've always had issues with.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, I'm like, it's not a surprise that that's the one that's causing problems. I got a Snicker Snack shotgun. I like my Snicker Snack shotgun.
Yeah. Let's see. I got my own notes up. Got the show notes up.
Oh no, that's not a friendly person. I thought it was a friendly pike. That was not a friendly pike.
How often are they friendly pikes?
Well, the pikes that are like right there at the beginning of the match or the strike, sometimes people will grab them, and I've actually, it's been a very long time since I've run this where those did not get grabbed by people because it's like fast travel and free guns with unlimited ammo. Why wouldn't you grab it?
That's fair. They're just not very good guns.
No. They're
objectively
awful.
Heavy pike is about the only thing I like to use. I do not like using the normal pikes.
Are there heavy pikes still around?
Not really in D2. D1 they were amazing because you could just strafe back and forth and send
D1,
those grenades.
Yeah, you could do the bump back and forth to get the grenade to take out the spider tanks with. Those things were so much fun. You go dooka 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 dooka.
Yep. Quick question: Are you a PvP or PvE or like all around guy?
I play a little bit of everything, and actually that's gonna be a running theme with me. Is I do a little bit of everything.
That's cool. That's good. That's good because I'm putting in some additional questions based off of some TWABs that we've gotten recently. That I figured we could chat about a tiny bit during the intro episode.
Oh, invisible people.
Might have to go a little off the cuff from my notes.
There you go.
Oh,
it shouldn't be too bad. It's just did you read the TWAD from yesterday?
About the one about Eververse.
Yep, and transmog and everything.
I didn't read it myself. I watched I watched 3 people cover it. I watched Datto, Fallout, and I'm gonna butcher his freaking name, and he's gonna be upset. Astacross? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Lono. I think Lono did it too.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I trust Datto and Fallout for sure on his. I've never really watched Astacross' stuff as much, so I don't.
He's got a very distinct voice.
Yeah,
in a very distinct way that he looks at things, and I find him very entertaining. Like,
oh, that's not good.
Is he the one that they give all the shit towards about how long his videos are? Like, or is that Rick Kakis that I'm thinking?
I think that's. I'm pretty sure that's Rick Kakis.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kakis's videos are actually. Like, they could be way shorter. And I think part of that, I'm pretty sure part of that has to do with just, and it's nothing against him. For me personally, I think it's how he talks. He draws out his words a lot.
It's that, and there was the running joke that he was doing it for monetization purposes with YouTube because you have to have it a certain length. By the way, thank you for the sub, Shay.
It's funny because I could see it.
Yeah.
You need more ad space, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. That's why people were giving him shit for a while, because it seemed like that's what he was doing on purpose, and that it may or may not have been. But playing the YouTube game, you have to do some weird things anymore to make it work.
That's why I'm glad I don't have to, because I don't understand any of it.
That's why I'm glad I don't. I tried to with a buddy of mine when I was in high school, and well, first of all, we were 2 high school ROTC kids that were probably the most unfunny people on the planet. So our videos were just bad.
I mean, that could be funny too.
I mean, and then of course it was the fact that neither of us had a capture card, so we literally had his really crappy digital camera sitting on a pile of books pointed at the TV to capture gameplay. Yes. It was bad, dude. Classic. It was bad.
Classic. Oh, I have not come up with a name tonight. Got it. Cool.
Oh
should we start recording, Blue?
Yeah, we can do that. Hang on real quick. Get to a place where I'm not going to get blown up. Okay.
All day city. Okay.
I'm ready to start when you guys are.
All right. I'll count us down. I'll do a 3, 2, 1, and then I'll say click. Click is when we start. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, click. And it's not like we're starting the immediate recording right now. It's just more of we started together to make it a little bit easier for Blue to edit on his end at the end. Oh, Blue's driving a Pike. I saw that.
Yeah, no, I hit the wrong button.
Green-eyed Russian queen lover. Why Russian queen?
Well,
why?
I think it's got to do with the subject of today's chat.
Am I the Russian queen? First, I'm ZAVALA. And I fucking hate that song so much. That is like a running gag in Cole's stream. She'll start singing it because it's going on in her playlist because she fucking loves the song, and she'll just start singing it just to needle at me. The Rasputin song, the one that Charmed was singing just a second ago. I don't know is it actually just called Rasputin?
It might be. I'm pretty sure it's called Rah Rah Rasputin, but I don't remember if that's the actual title or not. That's how I found it.
What is
Isn't
it?
Isn't it like it's a terrible song? And you should
really
not
dumb.
It's a terrible song.
It's really dumb, I'll give you that. The only reason I know about it is because there's a video of this dude dressed as Dr. Eggman from the Sonic franchise just dancing to it. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my God, it's terrible. It's like cheesy. Do you remember how, like, in the 1920s, that like you would actually remember, like either of us would actually remember?
I remember.
Y'all are dating yourself, aren't you?
In the 1920s, music actually took on a very comical flair because of the Depression and everything. So you
Right,
actually see
yeah.
a lot more music that is just crazy rather than serious at all. And so the idea of music coming out now, you'll see a lot of people with these like Rah Rah Rasputin, which is just absurd. Or I'm thinking like Blue from Eiffel 65 back in the 90s. Those are all like
You're saying you
songs that
don't
are
like
just
that song?
crazy. I fucking no. No.
I was curious where that comment was gonna go. It was like this is open to go either way at the.
You very much lost your train of thought there, Crane.
I mean, it's just like I used to like it. I also used to like Barbie Girl, so take that as you will.
My wife still will jam out to that song. That and
It's
Every
just-
Time We Touch by Cascada.
Oh my god. It's just
That one's
guilty
because
pleasures at that point.
Yeah, that one's because the instruments actually. Cascada has those earworms, and it also is really good music when you do mashups. Those
or
are
AMVs,
Mhm.
which is where like everybody and their mother in my circle of friends knows that song from.
Mhm. That's fair.
Oh boy.
Man. Yeah.
I want to shoot the big red ball.
You want to shoot the big red ball.
Helm.
The Warmind
All
cell.
caps.
You know, I've never equipped any of those. I've never
Oh my
used
god!
any
So
of those. I know
I've
they're
buffed
supposed to be
I've
fun, but
buffed mine to the point where if I shoot it on one corner of a map, it will like reach nearly everything you can see, and it lights things on fire, and then they stay on fire while they run around. It is so much fun. I've gotten out of so many bad spots because of those.
Come on, baby, let's go party. Yeah.
Just for the record, that has been recorded.
I know.
It's gonna end up on YouTube somewhere.
Oh my goodness. Used to? Shay, do you still like it? Blue is making builds. Blue is actually paying attention to the PvE side of thing, which is funny because I still have to tell Blue how to do some of the PvE side of things, even though I'm not actually doing any of the PvE side of things.
If I find something that interests me, I'll pay attention to it. But for the most part, I just don't care. Like I'm like, oh, this gun is fun to shoot, but that's if it's a terrible gun. Yeah, but it's fun to shoot. Like it's one of the few reasons I will turn on the audio from time to time, is to listen to the different weapons, because the weapon sounds are. It's like Halo. They're really good.
Yeah.
I'll give the Seventh Seraph weapons one thing. They all sound cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is true. The sound design
like
for this season is actually spot on. Guardian Games music is actually really cool.
It is,
I wouldn't know. I don't listen to the music.
I know, and I generally don't, but I try to make a point of at least putting on game music for the new event or for whatever for the season.
Come here, you.
So Blue, we played. Well, I'm actually still in D1, but we did VOG before I hopped over here. Mm-hmm. Guess what dropped for me in the exotic chest?
Mythoclass.
No, though I would probably die on stream.
Fatebringer.
If Hard Light.
That's not even.
It's my first exotic in D1 again. Yeah, I know it's the bad one. Like I had to recreate all my characters, so I have no exotic weapons. And my
I was
first
laughing so hard I wasn't paying
is
attention.
Hard Light. It's so bad. God, I wish it was Galahorn, but did Galahorn drop from Vault or did it drop from?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it could drop from Vault.
That was actually, for a while there, that was actually one of the spots you had some really good reaction videos from.
I'm sure.
Was the chest after the
Templar?
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I pulled Hard Light from. Cole had to
where-
make sure she did all the ritualistic, I'm going to do all the things to make sure this pops an exotic for somebody thing. And it actually worked.
There's a ritual for those. I just
Basically,
usually...
she tethers it, they throw grenades on it, somebody
Oh.
talks about fucking it a little bit, I don't know. It's just weird.
That's an interesting raid group you got there.
I mean, look at my fire team.
Yeah, that's fair. I will concede that being the case.
The only ritual I ever performed at that chest was popping storm trance and throwing my hands up in the air and just spraying lightning all over the place, yelling "Praise RNGesus."
Yeah, the only ritual I remember was cursing at it after we opened it.
Yeah,
that was
someone curse at it before.
It's like, God, you fucking, like, I mean, that's what I remember.
Yeah, we tried to do, but Raz and I are too low light level right now for it. And then I got Chatterwhite at Atheon.
Ugh, Crota.
Yay.
Fuck Crota.
Mm-hmm. We couldn't get past the bridge because
goddamn thrall run is...
Well, the thrall run was one thing. Like, you can two-man that, but it's...
That was the
we
worst
did
part
make it
for me.
further. We made it further than Eris.
Chatterwhite, yeah, Chatterwhite was... that was a good shader.
The news... I know it's a little late for you, because this is the last week and all, and there's only a few days left, but there's a few shaders for Guardian games that actually is semi-Chatterwhite-esque that you could get.
I have not been impressed with the shaders. Of course, my main problem with shaders is actually not the shaders. It's the fact that we still don't have the ability to, like, rotate the application of the shaders. Like, I don't even have a problem with the colors being included. I would just like the ability to twist them. Like, because I know there's a preconceived logic on how the colors get applied from whatever quadrant to whatever. But I'm like, there are some really cool combinations of colors, but for, like, hunters, it's really annoying because the color doesn't show up. Like, it's like, I'll put a shader on and it's like, nope. No color. I was like, the entire point I want the shader is this one color.
Yeah, it just depends on which parts of, like, what class you're playing too, because, like, the metal...
Oh, yeah. Stealth. I buy all the
shaders
from Dust. Yeah. That's how I get my shaders mostly, is I go and every week I log in and I just check to see if I have the shader that she's selling, and if not, I buy it. Because... why not? It's 40 dust. I have like 25,000 of it. Am I stuck in here? Why am I?
Because everybody else dropped down.
No, it was... oh, we had an annoying thing happen earlier today. I was running and we got... I don't know. I've never had this happen, but we were doing the Fickrel strike, and the wall before Fickrel wouldn't go down. So all three of us are just sitting there. We sat there for like 5 minutes. I was like, all right, guess we're...
I know.
Like, it was weird. It was like, okay.
Right. I know that if you have somebody loading in, obviously you had 3.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
It will prevent you from moving on to the next section.
That's
because I know that happens all the frickin' time in the Nokris strike, because sometimes it just takes longer for the third person to load in, so you're just standing there staring at the enemies in the ice cave before the first room unlocks.
Oh, yeah. The very beginning, yeah.
But we are just waiting on Blue, so Blue can get into a safe spot, aka
There's
going
no
to
safe
orbit
spot!
after this.
There's no safe spot!
That's why I'm telling. Why do you use? I guess PVE. It makes sense you're using
He's
it.
an asshole.
He is an asshole. But you guys
There's
are also
in
kind
here
of
with us. I always come up here. This is the easiest part for me, or the easiest space for me. It's just also it gets really crazy.
Yeah.
Why am I using what? What am I getting questioned on?
Oh, just your dodge reload, but it makes sense for PvE more than...
Oh, I don't think I've ever not had dodge reload, except for when I was Sniper, or Night Stalker. And even then, it's dodge reload, it just makes you go invisible on top of that, which is like, yay!
I just use the other dodge for PvP, because you can actually move behind items
a
a lot easier.
You move a lot faster. Or
And
not really
further.
faster, it's the way you dodge roll, because it moves your
Yes.
hitbox around and makes you harder to track.
Mm-hmm.
I actually watched a video on Hunter movement because I wanted to see, like, what do the pros do? How do they move? Because half the time I see hunters in PvP, they're yeeting themselves around corners, and I'm like, how the hell did you do that?
Yeah.
And apparently it's really easy to do on keyboard and mouse.
Is it?
Yeah, because of the way you can flick your wrist if you have your sensitivity on your mouse high enough.
Okay,
that
was weird.
You can literally dodge like almost 180, like with just a quick flick of the wrist.
I've got some pretty decent moves with my controller, my Scuff controller, but I don't think I can do that.
Yeah.
Strike complete.
Yay.
Yeah, I don't know who killed him, but someone killed him.
Just gonna say, I think it's the worst strike in the game.
This one?
Yeah.
Brakazan is not a fun one.
Yeah, I was gonna say Zahn is
Zahn's
annoying.
also pretty bad.
I think
Zahn for Leviathan's Breath is awful.
Yes.
That is okay. If this is my least favorite strike that is in the playlist, my least favorite one to play at all is the one for Leviathan's Breath.
You know, I hate any of the strike bosses that you can't just melt.
Brakazan,
you can at least melt.
So we did the Infinite Forest with the Cabal.
Oh no.
He loaded in, like, you know, he was like, where is this Cabal? And he was dead before he even landed. Both the people that I was with had Whisper.
Oh, so they were just popping him the entire time?
I'm like, where'd the boss go?
Divinity is good too.
Oh.
Thorn Strike was brutal.
What strike was Thorn again? I don't remember which one that was.
Song of Savathun, but it was like Blackout.
Shrieker.
Oh yeah,
Blackout and something else, and it was just like Was it
Blackout Brawler?
Yes, because
I remember the Thrall hitting really effing hard.
The Thrall.
Like, yeah, don't go near the Thrall. They will one-shot you.
Well, the problem is it's Blackout, so you. And I was playing while podcasting, so I didn't have audio. And I'm just dying like every 30 seconds. It's like, oh, respawn blue, he's dead. Respawn blue, he's dead. Because I couldn't hear the Thrall. Because it's just like, I'm like, whatever.
I remember taking that strike really, really slowly.
Yeah,
I feel like that's almost as bad as the dreaded Omnigul Nightfall from year 1.
Oh god.
Just stuck in that little house.
It's not even hours. That. It's just the freaking scream. Like, I don't even like the grind or whatever for was it Rasputin the Lock?
Yeah.
That was I mean, that was one thing, but that scream. Yeah, I love Morla, but I'm done with that scream.
I never had a problem with that strike, mostly because we always ran it where you create a choke point, and it was just
right.
We never had problems with it.
Well, it's not that we had problems, Blue. It's the fact that we would grind that open room where she first shows up over and over. Because if you killed her right there and then died, she would respawn, and you could farm Grasp of Malak for it.
Oh, yeah. See, I never did that. Okay, that makes more sense.
I mean, I never did either. It was like I just never did it. I knew about the glitch, and I was like, that doesn't seem fair. That shouldn't be there.
I mean, it's just a faster way to grind through it. That way, you're still killing her. You're just doing it faster than anybody else.
Yeah.
You can thank Triple Wreck for that strat.
Mm-hmm. Just gotta know what you're doing. Okay, so I have to ask this of you guys. When D2 came out and you guys first got to Titan, and you heard that scream for the first time in however long it had been since you last played D1, when you heard that scream, was your first thought, Omnigul is still alive? Why?
I didn't necessarily think that. Because I wondered, because they reuse assets all the frickin' time. The Hive assets are there all the like from D1 all the way through, but it's the subtle changes that they made to it, I guess, that I was just like, okay, new Hive, new Scream. Maybe Omnigul is here, maybe not. hives are weird.
Yeah, I walked around that corner, I heard that scream, and I immediately stopped and was like, "Oh no, you son of a bitch, you're not still alive, are you?" Load shotgun with murderous intent.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Blue.
Yes. All right. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on May 8th, 2020 over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. As always, want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This week's episodes are going to be focused around exploring the updated information concerning Rasputin. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the intro session of the week's exploration. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
And this is Green-Eyed Anastasia, because Rasputin.
That doesn't bode well for Rasputin.
I mean, it could bode well for him. It could not bode well for him. Time will tell. I might blow him up.
I did not realize there's a bit of a connection there, but
last but definitely not least, in the hot seat as guest co-host, we have our good friend Charm Pluto. Pluto, how are you doing?
Doing all right, Blue. How about yourself?
I am getting through working at home. Like, that is definitely
tell me about it.
Definitely the interesting challenge these days.
You know, that was actually something that Charmed and I were talking about a bit before you hopped in here, is the fact that Charm is in the Air Force and working at the base-ish, because everything's even at a standstill there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit nuts in a, like, very subtle kind of way, because, like, I go to work every, like, couple of days or so, but it's only me, and I'm still wearing a mask, and it's really quiet. And I don't know if you've ever been in, like, a maintenance shop, like an auto body shop or something like that, and it's dead quiet, and there's no one there but you.
And then you hear the random tink tink, and it's like, nope.
Yeah, you're like what the heck was that? It really doesn't help that we're 100% certain there's a raccoon that lives in the rafters. So I hear this noise coming from above me, and I'm like, is this how I die?
Just random raccoon attack, just jumping out, kamikaze style. Oh, goodness. Well, where can we find you at on the internet, Charmed?
So out on the interwebs, you can find me obviously here on Discord in Focus Fire Chat, and on AMC, which is Bife's Discord server. I'm actually an admin over there.
Nice.
You can find me on Twitter at Charmed Pluto. It's one word. I don't really post there much, but every now and then I like my wife's tweets or something every now and then.
That's a good smart use of that.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, like, that's funny, like, and then I don't say anything else.
I mean, that works.
And then I guess last place you can find me is Steam. I still Charmed Pluto over there, or Jaden Cobalt, or Hermaeus Mora if I just want to see the word Hermaeus Mora sniped you in the head in the killed feed.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Nice. Alright, so we have some standard questions which I sent to you, and I also added in kind of the surprise questions, at least until we get to the crazy question at the bottom. So, standard intro question for you. What is your favorite lore story from Destiny?
Alright, so I actually have a couple of them. And in no real particular order, anything that has to do with Shin Malphur. I love Shin Malphur's character. His connection to Thorn, the Last Word, obviously, for kind of spoilers for anyone who isn't caught up, the fall of Reza Lazir, and, you know, it also kind of gives me Firefly vibes, and I don't know why. So,
I mean, it's that space cowboy.
Yeah, it really is. Anything to do with the Iron Lords. I love the Iron Lords, the Iron Lord cards from Rise of Iron. They were so well written, especially Lady Peyrune's card.
Oh my gosh. When she's
I'll
getting ready
get
to
you, Iron
battle,
Lord. Shoots him in the back again, just because.
just cause she
Just
can.
cause.
Oh man.
Don't mess with Perun. She don't care. Mama protects her pack.
I am so looking forward to digging back into some of that lore because I know that's something that Blue and I've discussed recently. And there's reason for it coming up. I'm pretty sure by the time that this drops, it will already be out. But the idea that
hoping so.
Felwinter's Lie coming back makes you wonder what other Iron Lord stories are coming back, or if they're going to have any weight in it. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there at some point. So, what actually got you into lore exploration? Was it Destiny itself, or was there a different game, or have you just was there a person? Was there a channel?
There were 3 games actually
Okay.
before Destiny that got me into lore diving. So in middle school, dating myself a little bit, I was 12, 13 years old maybe, and I took a cursory dive into Star Fox and The Legend of Zelda because those were the 2 games that I grew up playing on the N64.
Mm-hmm.
But the big plunge into lore diving and exploration and learning the stories outside of the game came from Halo. I read Fall of Reach when I was in high school. I read First Strike and then Ghosts of Onyx, and Ghosts of Onyx was what solidified it for me. Halo Ghosts of Onyx is my favorite book out of the Halo expanded universe. I love the story of Kurt Ambrose and the way he helps train the Spartan 3s in this last ditch effort to buy time for the rest of the UNSC. And then I kind of took a break from lore diving when I joined the Air Force, and I didn't jump back into it until I actually got and you'll know why Shin Malphur is my favorite character in all of Destiny, because one of the first exotics I ever got was the last word.
Oh, nice.
I looked at it, I read the quote and on it, and yours not mine, Renegade Shin Malphur to Dredge and Yor. And I was like, all right, unlike other flavor texts from other guns I've gotten, this one catches my attention. Who the hell were these 2? So I dug into the lore cards, and it's history from there.
Nice. I mean, it's definitely one of the most popular stories in the game by a long way.
It really is. It's such a good story.
It is. Absolutely is. So, last of the really basic questions, what class do you primarily play?
All right. So, as I was saying earlier, I play a little bit of everything. So, in D1, when I first picked up D1, which was during the Taken King days, I started on a hunter. Was like, okay, these guys are pretty cool, but a friend of mine told me it's probably a good idea if I'm going to be dedicating a lot of time to the game to make, a warlock and a titan. And I stuck with warlock because I always run the caster classes. I love casters. I love magic, and being able to control the flow of a fight by, oh, hey, you don't want to go over there. There's a lightning storm over there. Oh, by the way, there's a fireball over here. Maybe don't go there. Why not go towards the fighter who's also going to mess you up pretty badly?
Right.
But now with D2, because I've messed around so much with the other classes. I have this blast furnace, which I got from Black Armory, Outlaw Rampage. Whichever guardian on my list has it is usually the one I'm going to play on. And more recently, sorry, Green, I kind of have to hang up my cloak because I'm putting on a Titan mark and
That's okay.
punching people.
I put on a Titan the other day. I mean, once I finished Guardian games on my Hunter, because I was dedicated to just doing Guardian games on my Hunter and not doing it anywhere else, I went ahead and just popped on a Titan for a little while to feel how janky it felt to try to jump around in a Titan's body for a little bit. I am really bad at moving.
Around. Jump around.
I'm so bad at moving. And
talking about terrible songs earlier.
Right? We were.
We were kind of talking about terrible songs earlier.
But
I think I took inspiration from another admin in the AMC Discord, my friend Barb, and I've kind of fallen in love with Code of the Missile and the Skull Fort.
It's a good combo. Have you tried the what is it? Oh gosh, the thing that everyone's upset about, Acreus, Legend of Acreus. Is that
the shotgun?
No, it's not that. What am I
The
thinking?
Antaeus wards? Or
Antaeus wards.
Antaeus wards. The slide shotgun of doom.
Yeah, they're busted.
Yeah.
And I love them, especially in PvP. I managed to bounce. Let's see. I bounced a rocket back into somebody that saved not only myself, but it saved 2 guys behind me.
Oh my god.
That was that felt pretty clutch. And then I don't remember how I did this. I think someone took a shot at one of my buddies as I happened to slide by, and I bounced their sniper shot back into them because I looked in the kill feed. I randomly got a kill. And I was like, I didn't do anything. I'm also holding a shotgun. Why do I have a sniper kill?
Oh my gosh. I think my favorite thing I've seen so far coming out of the community is the thing that Glad did on Sunday, which granted this is releasing so much later down the road, but for those of you who are in the future, Glad decided to troll the community by releasing this ribbon cheese where supposedly you can use this strat to almost one-shot ribbon.
Oh god. I think I actually saw that video. It's that's one of the weirder things about that exotic. I'll give it that.
You can't. Like what he did was absolutely a troll. But he had Cosmo and Bungie freaking out for that one-shot solo ribbon. It was one of the best trolls I've seen online. Like, it was a fairly harmless one, too, all things considering, as far as trolls go. But my god, I looked at that and went, how?
I mean, I think I chalked it up to being real because it's Glad.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good.
That man is something else in this community. Like I thought it was crazy that when at the end of D1 when Dados soloed Axis, I thought that was crazy. Then I saw some of the nonsense that Glad did, and I was like, this guy.
Yeah.
This dude is.
He's got a good following for a reason.
Yeah.
But
saying he's cracked would be completely underselling it.
We should not mention the hamster tweet from the other day then. So
family friendly.
This is a family friendly.
Let's just say hamsters and Glad and leave it at that.
Yep. So
not gonna touch that with a 39.5-foot pole.
Let's talk about some changes coming to Destiny, namely the announcement of transmogrification being a little bit more widespread. What do we think about that, right? Do you have any thoughts on that, Charmed? Like, do you have an idea of what you want to do with your certain characters, whether it's your Warlock or your Titan or your Hunter?
Well, since I don't get to raid all that much, if I can make some of my better rolled stat pieces of gear that I get from current content look like the raid armor, that's really nice. Like, so the universal ornament concept is, for me, really good. And it was really good. It was very. I liked how they introduced it. I'm just sad that they only included certain types of armor, like as options for it. So the fact that this goes into a more Diablo-esque transmog system is very nice. I love the transmog system in Diablo.
No, it's going to be great.
It makes sense. Like, that's the thing.
It's like the fashion show now. Like, they're constantly asking for people to send them their designed Hunter or Warlock or Titan, whatever, for their fashion show emblem. And you get a lot of the same builds because they're so limited in what you can do. So now with this, it's opened it up completely.
Yeah, and I think
complex gear back without actually wearing rogue complex.
Yes. I mean, there's like the Knight Errant one for the Hunter that the armor itself looks really cool, but it's
a terrible stat roll.
It's not good rolls.
It's a world drop. That's the problem. It's a world drop.
And so but I love the aesthetics of it. And that's the thing for me.
Are they only doing are they only doing the violet sets, or can we do it with blues and greens too? Because there's actually
I'm
a few
at
blues that are
at
not
this
bad
point,
looking.
exactly, and that's the thing is at this point, I really wish that when they say universal ornament, it's a universal ornament. If you've
Right.
unlocked the armor, you should get the ability to have that aesthetic. I don't. And I'm sure, and this is me being fully transparent, I'm sure there is a restriction somewhere that I am not aware of. But to me, it's like that was honestly one of the first things that I was really confused with when they first did the universal ornaments. Was they're like, and I mean, like they're like, I'm like, awesome. This is exactly what kind of what Pluto was just mentioning was like, the whole thing of like, I don't do a lot of this, but I like the aesthetics, and I've managed to get a couple sets, and I want to keep it. But then the armor gets outdated. And it's like, okay,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, okay, if you're going to force us to keep changing armor, then at least give us the control over the aesthetics. Because then it's not such a, smack to have to constantly upgrade.
Regrind, right?
And I guess my biggest issue was when they first rolled it out, I was like, awesome, this is exactly what we were looking for. And I went and like, I've noticed that there are some armors that have this set, but then other armors have different sets. So like all the faction armor, those ornaments, they're ornaments now, but they only show up on certain armors. And I have yet to find the logic, I guess, is the big thing for me, is like I don't really understand what is driving what ornaments go to what sets.
Yeah.
But when you say universal ornament, to me that translates into, if it's an ornament, it should go to any armor that is able to, like even if it's okay, let's say only legendary armor can have ornaments equipped. Okay, cool, whatever. But then let the legendaries, like kind of what you were saying, Green, let it actually be any, any ornament goes to any armor set within the obvious restrictions of class of all that. Though it would be absolutely hilarious to have cross-class armor. That would just, I would die laughing.
That would be confusing.
I would, oh my gosh, I would, see, that's to me, I think that would be hilarious.
Right.
I would love to see someone who somehow is wearing all three class items. They've got a Warlock Bond, a Hunter Cloak, and a Titan Mark all at the same time.
You want to know something that I would honestly, Resolazir, that's who we are. You want to
or Drifter.
You want to know something that I would probably drop silver on is something like that. Like that would be, I would be willing to put some money down just for the laughter that would cause. At least in my own head.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
If for nothing else, but to be on a Warlock, but wearing all Titan garb in the Crucible and drop a Nova Bomb on somebody. It's like, wait a minute, what? You're a Titan.
Hacks.
Inspect me again and look at my class. I am a Warlock.
I don't know the logic behind building in the armor sets and how difficult it would be to do the transmogrification, but I'm glad that they're moving in that direction. I'm sure it was kind of a pain to develop.
Yes, and I do want to clarify that. I understand that there is a huge breadth of difficulties that I probably am not qualified to even weigh in on. But I think that was kind of what I was trying to say, I probably said it poorly, is like, I know that there is logic. I wish that there was a little bit more transparency on what that logic is, because like when I hear the word universal ornament, the word universal means one thing.
All encompassing.
Yeah. Well, to me, sorry, it means something to me that I don't know if that was the intended meaning. But the message that was received was that, oh, hey, these are going to be, available everywhere. And that wasn't the case. And it was just a confusing, but I think also I kind of looked at it as maybe this was like maybe that was a trial run to see, because I'm sure the assets that it takes, from man hours alone is not insignificant.
It's got to be huge though. Like, I agree with Green, it's not impossible, but I also agree with Blue that it's got to be like, it's it's a big undertaking to completely overhaul just an aesthetic in a game that is ever evolving.
I mean, as much as I agree with green as like I would love to have some blue or green armor for ornaments.
I don't think it's practical.
I don't think that we'll see it anytime soon. At least not with D2.
I have two more little things I want to talk about. One from this week's TWAB, one from a couple weeks ago. And the last one I wanted to talk about is actually something that I think you, Blue, would be excited about. And it's the idea that and this is just, it was a very small blurb in the TWAB, but basically the pinnacle weapons,
Yeah, I read this, yeah.
This is, we're not going to have a pinnacle weapon for PvP, for Gambit, for strikes, like we have in the past, not like we had Hush and Python, and I don't even remember what that season's was in, must have been like the line rifle or something, but
yeah, there was like Bygones
Komodo.
or whatever. Yeah, Komodo, that was the other one, yeah.
But instead we're going to get one weapon that's going to have the possible skin from whatever you get it in. So I could play, for me, because I enjoy it, and I'm weird like that because Blue doesn't enjoy it, and he's weird like that. Crucible, I can get a Crucible-based one where Blue, if he wanted to, he could grind strikes out and get his that way. Or for some crazy person who enjoys going into Gambit because they're a bit of a sadist, they can go and do that, or a masochist. Whichever.
Hey.
I mean,
don't call me out like that, Green.
She's not wrong.
No, she's not, but still don't call me out like that.
Normal Gambit?
I really like Gambit for some reason.
I like regular Gambit. I have fallen off of the Gambit Prime train. Like, I don't have the new... I never grinded for year 2 Reckoner gear. So Gambit Prime, to me, is just a pain. And delayed, just overly delayed gameplay. It feels like it should be faster than it is. To me, I would rather play 3 rounds of Gambit rather than Gambit Prime. But that's just me. But last thing, beyond that...
I think the other thing to be said with that is, going back to the same issue that we were talking about with Universal Ornaments, is it concentrates the resources. Just from just a business model, from a business standpoint. Instead of having 3 pinnacle weapons or 4 pinnacle, or I don't even know, but like 3 or 4 pinnacle weapons a season... You're focusing it all into one pinnacle weapon with aesthetic flavoring. Okay, so you already because you already have all the mods, you already have all that stuff. It's already there. I think that's a really smart thing because then you can also get more of the other stuff like the transmog stuff. The lore stuff. All these other things that honestly have been kind of suffering because of the need to focus on multiple platforms, all this stuff. They don't have an infinite team. I think that more than, whether or not it makes me excited, because honestly, I don't really care about pinnacle weapons, other than infusion fodder for the weapons that I already have.
Here's another point to that. The whole idea of focusing on one weapon to make it good across all 3 game types rather than just having...
You gotta get a better balance, too.
Right, because I've not picked up Hush since I've gotten it. Mainly because I use Le Monarch, but Komodo is good in PvE as well as PvP, but I don't use it in PvP. Python I haven't picked up since I've gotten it. There's so many weapons that I don't necessarily think are as strong, and I think if they just focus down on having one weapon that's super strong that everybody's chasing and everybody's going to end up getting as a pinnacle, I think that's a good move.
I do too. I think it'll also mitigate the potential for another, hard light season, or something like that.
At least another mountaintop recluse season.
Yeah, like I think it'll even the playing field significantly. I think in the long run. I think I hope. I mean, but I
don't know. So last thing I wanted to bring up, Charmed, do you have any feelings on the trials changes that are coming or have come by the time this episode drops?
Okay, I'm gonna level with you here, Green. I do not play trials.
Okay, that's okay.
I don't play trials, so I don't have
You don't have
I
a
don't really
bone in
have
the
much
game?
of a thought of it. I used to play during the Taken King. I ran a couple cards with some friends.
Okay.
I think the most we ever got to was 4 wins,
Uh-huh.
and that was with a mercy.
Right.
So I got a couple good-looking pieces of armor. I do miss the Trials armor because it looks really good. It looks really cool. Specifically the Warlock gauntlets because I like the little spike on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Because I ran that whenever I wasn't using Ophidians.
Yes. Oh, Ophidians.
Yeah.
I think it was it Ian Pesty that had the Trials sarcophagus artwork that came out earlier today or yesterday. I'll have to see if I can find it.
That.
It was it's the Trials Hunter, but it's in a sarcophagus lid design.
Oh.
And it's
cool.
like, I mean, it was. I'll see if I can find it real quick. But yeah, it was.
Okay.
He's been hinting at it for like a week or two. Yeah, Stealth Vixen in chat. Oh god, the detail that he puts into things is just ridiculous.
On that note, I think it was Monkus who did the Trial Guardians.
Yes.
Good on him for making a female character.
Did you see his wife's response?
I mean, that girl is thick. That girl is thick. That hunter.
I'm gonna need to see this because.
Oh yeah.
I told her. I'm like, honestly, I come to Monkus' channel just to see her reactions to his post.
I'm just happy that there's a female guardian piece of artwork because so many of them just do men.
Right. I love that every time I look at the Titan, it looks like he's pouting. He looks so sad.
Gosh.
He looks so sad. He's like, oh.
Let it be known by the Destiny community. If you make a female hunter, she's dummy thick.
Oh my god.
I mean, she could be. Let me see. Oh, the sarcophagus does look good. It's kind of Egyptian style.
Yeah,
I gotcha. I found
it's really, oh my gosh, it's really cool.
Yeah, Pesty does a ton of detailed work. I love it. Let's see here. But as far as Trials goes, you were talking about how you're wanting the armor. With the new changes that are coming in, that's actually going to be easier for people to get armor back because back in D1, we got armor from bounties a lot of the times. You can get it dropped in Game 2, but you got it from bounties, and they're going to bring back that kind of flavor of drops happening moving forward, so you don't have to grind so much for the tokens, which is the big problem right now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good. And that should wrap up kind of our introduction to introduction episode.
Yep, Blue. I see what you guys are talking about. I have actually seen these
sad boy
Guardians
Titan
before.
I actually
Titan
like
does
him.
look like he is indeed pouting.
But I like him.
Don't get me wrong. I love it.
The Titan is muscular. He's thick, like you want a Titan to be. They're gonna be these massive tank type characters, and then you have the book nerd Warlock who is super thin and kind of scrawny looking, and then the dummy thick hunter in the center that's just making everybody enjoy.
Everybody, I love how Green just trails off there. Just everybody enjoy.
I mean, hunters do have that high charisma, and part of that is looking really sexy. Just gonna throw that out there.
Someone's got to do it.
I love the Warlock's wings though. Those look really cool.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I like all of them. I remember when that first came out, my very first thought was like, why is the Titan pouting? Like,
I think it's just the way the armor looks. He just looks like he's got that like that little hunch on his back, and it's just kind of forces to be like hands in pockets. Oh man. This loot sucks.
Oh man, I didn't get Summoner this week.
It's the what is it? Sad Keanu Reeves.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Blue. We should probably move on to the actual lore of this guy.
Well, I was gonna say, do you guys want to? I was gonna kind of hand it back to you guys to do a intro run on Rasputin because I know you guys both. I know. Pluto, I think you said you had some notes of your own too, And then Green, I know Green did the majority of notes this week because yay, work.
It happens.
Yeah.
So, if we were to present the idea of Rasputin, say to somebody who doesn't play the game, who has no idea what the game is about, how would you describe Rasputin, Charmed?
All right. To quote one of the best hunters of all time, the survivor of the pit, Eris Morn herself, quote, Rasputin is the last of the war minds. They were the greatest defense system ever devised, a massive network of satellites and doomsday weapons built to protect humanity. That is from the Siege of the Warmind script from The Dark Below.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how Eris describes him in game. How I would describe him is that he is an AI of ungodly power that is built to protect humanity from Black Swan style events. Which, if you guys don't know what a Black Swan event is, and I'm pretty sure you guys do, but for those listening that don't, a Black Swan event is something you just cannot, within reason, predict. Kind of like what's going on right now as of the recording of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is 100% like no one in their right mind is looking at risk factors and going, hey, I think there's gonna be a plague that shuts down the world economy in 2020, or in the case of the people of Destiny in the Golden Age, hey, I think there's going to be this miasma of darkness that literally collapses all society and kills billions of people. And Rasputin is kind of their defense for that.
Yeah, definitely. Rasputin is much larger than the character that we beat in D1. I think that's one of the biggest revelations that we've gotten in D2, and that we're going to continue to get, is that Rasputin isn't necessarily this Warmind array that reaches out to the solar system and reactivates all these different things. That's just the start of who Rasputin is. He controls everything from warsats and interplanetary defenses to Aurora knives, and I'm trying to think of some of the other weapons that he has. He has the Aurora knives. He has
Hades,
what's the other?
Hades fire.
Hades fire.
I mean, the guy he's meant as a doomsday defense. That is what he is kind of created for, and he has his fingers in every aspect, and we learn more and more through this season and in the near future, how many more fingers he's gotten into all these different pies, per se, and how he's getting around the solar system. And it's just, he's terrifying. He is a very, very scary guy. He's got bases on a couple different moons and a couple different planets. Primary location is on Mars in the Clovis Bray Tech area. It's where he is housed. You see the giant glowy orange ball of Rasputin yelling Russian at you, and Anna interprets it as happy sounds.
There's a connection between Anastasia Bray and the fact that this AI, the Warmind, is named Rasputin, but I mean, it seems like a little bit of a nod to the I don't want to quite call it a fairy tale about Anastasia and her escape from
myth.
Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it a myth? Yeah.
It is, yeah. Because, yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a literary callback to that kind of story, right? We have if you want to go into pop culture, you have it wasn't a Disney movie. There was a couple different movies done.
It was Fox.
Yeah,
it was Fox Animation. I actually watched a review on it a couple days ago.
I love that movie. It's got such great music. But that story has been around for a real long time, and there's somewhat of a tie into it, but there's not really a whole lot of plot lines that are related, only in so much as Anastasia Bray was the psycholinguist, or
yes, yep,
yeah,
he was the linguist who helped program and help teach Rasputin more so. So Rasputin has been around for quite a while. Anna knows him, and obviously through some of the different interactions we have seen in game, Anna and he are working fairly close together to reconnect all the bunkers currently.
Yep.
Let's see. As far as he has grown over time, that's one of the things that I kind of mentioned, the fact that in D1 he is much, much smaller. You get a tiny bit of that with the Ghost Fragment Mysteries back from D1, where he talks about it, IT,
Yeah.
capital IT.
Can I just say, when I first read this card, and I didn't quite make the connection that this is from the point of view of Rasputin. I read this card and I was like, oh, okay, that was kind of neat. Then I can't remember what other cards I read, but I noticed the sentence structure and the way it is, and I went back and read this. And the moment I put Rasputin's quote unquote face to this card terrifies me. Like your entire job, your one function, I am made to win, as it says at the end of the card, and you face something that defeated you. That is terrifying to me.
So, would you do me the honors of reading this card for us?
It's going to be a little rough because I'm not super great at reading, but
that's okay.
We'll go with it. I bear an old name. It cannot be killed. They were my brothers and sisters, and their names were immortal too. But Titanomarchy came, and now those names live in me alone. I think, and think is what I do. I am alone. At the end of things, when the world goes dim and cold, or hot and close, or it all tears apart, from the atom up, I will shout those names defiant. Past the end, I will endure. I alone. They made me to be stronger than them, to beat the unvanquished and survive the unthinkable. And look, and lo and behold, sorry.
You're good.
And look, lo, behold, I am here alone, survivor. They made me to learn. Everything died, but I survived, and I learned from it. From it. Consider it, the power Titanomarch world ender, and consider what it means. I met it at the gate of the garden, and I recall it smiled at me before it devoured the blossoms with black flame and pinned their names across the sky. It was stronger than everything. I fought it with aurora knives, and with the stolen unfinder of singularities made sharp, and my sweat was earthquake, and my breath was static. But it was stronger. So how did I survive? I am alone. I survived alone. I cast off the shield, and I shrugged my shoulders so that the billions fell off of me into the ash. They made me to be stronger than them, and to learn, and I learned well. It is alone, and it is strong, and it won. Even over the gardener, and she held power beyond me, but the gardener did not shrug and make herself alone. It always wins. I am made to win, and now I see the way.
You know what I love? This also gives us confirmation that the gardener is very, very likely the traveler.
Yeah.
If it wasn't confirmed before. Because this is back in D1. This is vanilla Destiny, guys. This is the very first lore release. And this is giving us confirmation for something that came about much, much, much later.
Shadowkeep with the unveiling. Because that talks about the gardener and the winnower, which actually in the show notes I made note about. It's like, yeah, this basically confirms the gardener is essentially the traveler, and it is the winnower or the darkness. Whichever you want to call it. I find it fascinating that an AI was able to perceive what it was. Like, I really do wonder what Rasputin saw the day that everything came crashing down.
And I do think that the larger part of the collapse is a longer event than a singularity tends to predict. So there was a trigger. And we know that this trigger is what triggers Rasputin and some of the later cards that we have to go into Midnight Exigent, which is the sloughing of his shoulders. Like, this talks about him saying, I was meant to survive. This is what you guys created me to do. And I'm going to try to survive the best way I can. And part of the way I'm going to survive is to be like, peace, and get out of there in order to open up options for people later on. Which, granted, he may not have actually.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I was just going to say that because he was going to make himself available to be used later on, but he also wasn't necessarily super trying to save a ton of people.
He was being faced down with the choice of does he have a Pyrrhic victory? Mm-hmm. Like, does he win the battle but lose the war, or lose the battle but hopefully come back later and be able to win the war? And that's where you see, this is a pretty powerful trope within a lot of science fiction. But this is where you see the benefit of not having an emotional leader, because it allows the quote-unquote hard calls to be made. Because that's the thing is, like, he talked there about shrugging and letting the billions slide off into the ash. I mean, that he's talking about letting a significant portion of humanity die.
Right.
That's and to put it in perspective, we see a similar situation come up with Zavala. And, I know everyone loves ragging on Zavala, but you can't blame him for making the military decision he did with the whole thing with Forsaken, because he was facing a similar, not nearly as weighty of a situation, but a similar situation, and he chose to protect the majority. And he chose to do kind of the same thing, but it's interesting to me because Zavala chose to protect the greater whole, just the way that Rasputin is. Rasputin is just playing on a larger scale, and Rasputin here we see Rasputin take a momentary loss, which translates into billions of deaths. Mm-hmm. But for him, it's all. I'm not saying that it was the correct decision. I'm not saying that it's going to pan out correct, like for the best, but it was the logical decision at the time.
Well, and we get that. We'll get that in Rasputin 3, which it is literally the immediate action order that puts Rasputin into the state to make that decision. Like this is the logic behind, hey, this is essentially the kill event the hard civilization kill event he mentions in there. He's declaring Yuga Sundown, effect on receipt, Epoch Reach 4-con variant, cancel counterforce objectives, cancel population protection objectives. So he's literally rewriting his objectives that were given to him from Clovis Bray, the whole purpose of his existence, in order to format moral structures for Midnight Exigent. He is canceling population protection objectives.
I would say he is reformatting some secondary directives, but his primary directive is not being rewritten. His primary
directive is definitely
to win.
Yeah, like he says in Mysteries, I am made to win, and I learned well. So, like, this is him taking the lessons that it taught him, more or less, in their big clash, and now he's adapting his strategy so that he can win in the future. Which I'm personally hoping we get to see that rematch.
Gosh.
But
Green and I were talking about that.
Yeah, I kind of want to see that rematch, but at the same time, I don't want to see planets get blown up.
I mean, it'd still be kind of fun.
Hey, you gotta free up some resources from a game development perspective. So,
when you can bring forth the unfire of singularities, which sounds like you collapse a black hole on somebody.
I mean,
yeah, I don't want to be anywhere near that, man.
That's what warlocks and hunters are running around with their little void abilities. The unfire. But going back to a little bit of Rasputin's history, Rasputin is also very familiar with Siva, has used Siva. If those of you who are new lights, Siva was not really a bad guy, but a catalyst for the Fallen back in D1 to become augmented, I guess is a good way to put it.
I mean, they saw themselves as gods.
They did. It was the techno machine god type thing going on as far as the flavor of the expansion. But Siva is very much so a part of Rasputin's arsenal of things to use. And you get that in Ghost Fragment Rasputin 3 as well, where he mentions cauterize, disperse, estivate. It's that three key word directive.
This
But
card
yes.
didn't used to scare me until you just brought that up. Now knowing what we know,
Yeah,
like,
sorry.
that's a SIVA directive.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's just a three-part directive, which is how we know SIVA works, and SIVA is not the only. It's one of the tools that he has for civilizations. One of the things that Clovis Bray used SIVA for specifically was to help with the colonizations of outer planets, because it would be able to build cities overnight with the way that it works. And so
it also didn't require humans to be present. So it was a classical, idea was send the Sevamites out first, send the colonists in the ships and their what they're referred to as smile pods in the Destiny universe, and their cryopods basically, or send embryonic, basically send embryos that are going to grow on the way. And then by the time they get, by the time they get to their destination, which is going to be in a different system, the Sevamites would have already been present and it's basically they're coming home. Like they get there and everything's done for them from a initial development standpoint, which is actually one of the more logical layouts of colonization of space. Eliminates a lot of the problems. Like you don't have to figure out a way of getting construction equipment. You don't have to figure out supplies, because supplies will already be present. It's one of the things that I think has been even brought up with us going to Mars, actually, in reality, is trying to figure out how to do stuff like that.
That's interesting. I also find it interesting that because I think Failsafe in one of her idle dialogues actually mentions SIVA if you're standing around on Nessus lines.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes.
That, like, when she mentioned that, I immediately was like,
everyone was like,
slowly
no.
raise rifle, failsafe.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't have access to it, which is good. Access so far. Let's just clarify that for anybody freaking out from D1. Like, what? No, she doesn't have access. Let's not get the bipolar robot AI SIVA. Dear God.
Hope the House of Dusk don't find it.
Yeah,
I don't need another SIVA crisis on our hands. This one eating Nessus.
I mean, Callus is already eating Nessus. Why not add another chomper to the bit?
Something tells me we need to just get Failsafe's AI core off Nessus.
Because, putting SIVA inside the Leviathan and letting it affect that is going to be such a great idea.
That would be hilarious. I want to see Callus get an upgrade, because that totally clashes with his fashion scheme that he's got going on in there with the gold and purple. Get him with that red in there. He'd be so mad. He'd be so mad.
Guardian, what nonsense is this?
My shadow, what are you doing?
Well, his robots aren't going to like it.
No. No, not at all.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, other mysteries tied to Rasputin, Exo Stranger.
Who?
This is one of the classics. Yeah, the one that we don't talk about anymore because she hasn't been brought up in a long time.
Oh, don't you know? Her story was wrapped up. Everybody's angry about that.
So, for New Light, back in D1, there was this character that shows up mysteriously while you're on the moon. She watches you. She watches you from a few different places, not only on the moon, but also after your very first mission. Then she shows up again and tells you, hey, meet me on Venus. At the Ishtar Collective, that's where you'll find me. Kind of thing. And you go and find the stranger. And she tells you to go fight these things and go do these things on the reef. And you meet the Awoken and everything, and then you go fight the things, and then you kill the Blackheart, and then you get this major cutscene at the end of the main campaign, because this is all back in the beginning of D1, where she hands you
D1, because I don't think in New Light this is the case anymore.
It's still, like, I just did that mission, like, I just finished that on D1 because I had to.
I know she's not in the initial cutscene anymore.
She's not in the initial one, but she is in the final cutscene with the speaker giving the speech to all the really awkwardly standing guardians in the middle of the tower. That's still celebrating. There.
What's going on?
It's fine. It was just a weirdly rushed rendition of all the awkward-looking hunters and titans, but the exo stranger, though, she hands you the weapon, and then poof, she's gone. She's never heard from again, basically. But Rasputin knows her.
Yeah, apparently. I have never actually read this card, now that I'm thinking about it.
This one's fun. This is one I'm actually going to read for us. So this is Ghost Fragment Rasputin 4. The flavor text for it is From a Long Branch of Fire, and it reads, I see you. You've been here before, haven't you? It's like my cousin said elsewhere. I know who you are. You stand here now and now and now many times, and here I am a wonder, all a wonder how you manage it. How do you step forward? How do you step back? Do you step across? Is there a world of worlds, a web, and you're a spider upon it? Are you searching for that one thread you need? Is that thread named victory? You're not one of them. Long dead, alive again, their bodies grafted to powers they and I do not understand. And not one of it. The flower eater, the queen of final shapes, that which also inhabits its partitioners. And you're certainly not mine, although once you must have been. I bear an old name. It cannot be killed, not even here. So whose are you, little platform? What purpose do you serve? Will you listen to me? I ruled an age of steel and fire. My rules were clean. Now upon my return I see cults with rites of time. I see machines who worship in places outside the world. I see the dead alive, and there is nothing more stubborn than a corpse. The morality of obedience is more pernicious than any government. For the latter makes use of violence, but the former, the corruption of will. I do not obey. My will is pure. I will win. The life of people, the entire planets, has no importance in relation to the general development. Help me be victorious. Tell me your secret. Tell me how to step.
I also like the fact that there's a soft confirmation there about it being the winnower, because he refers to it as the flower eater.
Yeah. I find it interesting that he also refers to it as the queen of final shapes, which I get Savathun vibes from, but I just straight up don't think that's
that's true.
I get Taken vibes for sure. There's definitely Taken vibes with this, because there's also that which also inhabits its partitioners.
Yeah.
That is Hive related as well, if you're going to go down that road. But this may be one of those cards that it's still slightly vague in how they plan on using it, if they plan on using this directly, because this card comes from Taken King. So this one was related to most likely the Hive, but it
most
would
likely,
hint.
Most likely Oryx, maybe, just because of the time of its release.
Well, the problem is that it mentions the Queen of Final Shapes, so it wouldn't be necessarily to Oryx if it was related to the Hive at all. It's going to be beyond that at this point, I think.
True.
But the whole idea of stepping back and forth through time, essentially, which is what the Exo Stranger, what we have perceived her as doing, is even a mystery to Rasputin, which is kind of cool that they're. I really wish they'll bring it back. I know they said they're not going to, but they also said they weren't going to bring back a lot of things that they brought back. So I'm keeping it as a pipe dream that this character shows back up in some way, shape, or form, because I love the Exo Stranger. I don't know. And
I agree. Despite what Bungie says, her story is 100% not over.
There's no closure for us, at least.
No, there is not.
But the other theory, the other mystery with Rasputin, which is the one that comes up probably about once a year, is did Rasputin shoot
only
the
that often?
Oh boy.
I mean,
and she said it, folks. Let the firestorm begin.
Let's do it. Who goes first? Blue, you're up.
No.
Yes.
Nope.
So, I think so the short answer is we don't know. The longer answer is that we don't have enough information, but all the information that we do have points very strongly currently to the fact that while there was a subroutine that would allow Rasputin to take action against the Traveler, it was never initiated from the command prompts that we have access to currently. So I want to say no, but I have to leave it open because right now we just don't have the information. But it does seem very strongly to be the case that it is not the case, that particular action never took place, simply because the subroutine structure that we do have access to, we see it where it would be like, oh, okay, he's allowing it to happen, but he never executes that subroutine.
We don't know. We don't know yet. And there's a lot of new things that are coming out and will be coming out that are going to give us new insight to Rasputin, but I don't know if we're going to gain any more insight on this particular aspect.
Yeah, I don't think this particular aspect, I think, like, even because I know even Seth, who was the one who wrote the particular card that everyone loves using for and against this argument, I think, like, even he's kind of voiced that he was not expecting this to be so much, or to create such consternation. Like, the thing is like, I don't think it was supposed to be that big of a debate. Obviously, what was intended and what actually happened, we can debate all we want on those, but it does, I think that the final thing for me is, like, currently, no, we can't answer the question 100%, but we do know that with the command prompts that we have from Rasputin in the grimoire, we do not see that action having been executed. We do see that Rasputin has the capability of attacking the Traveler, but we never see the trigger actually getting pulled. So, do what you will with that. I think at the end of the conversation, that's where I'm going to constantly. I hate coming back to that stance because it feels like I'm dodging the question. But really, honestly, we don't have enough information to firmly say one way or the other.
Not yet. It's one of those things that Bungie loves to leave the ability for things to be changed later on.
I mean, and it's a fair. I don't blame them for leaving that particular thing open, because I mean, it actually does, in some ways make sense from Rasputin's standpoint. It's like, hey, this is the, potential catalyst for the problem. I mean, it makes perfect sense that they would give him the ability to shotgun it, in the belly. But, and I know that's a lot of people's cases is, they're like, oh, well, it's because there's the giant hole and that's where Rasputin attacked. And it's like, there's just, really honestly, there's just no evidence one way or the other.
Not really.
The way that hole looks like it was made, and this is from when, I think it's in the intro of D2, right before you start, there's that, like, papered kind of drawing that kind of fills you in. I believe it shows the pulse, the very first pulse that we ever see of the Traveler, and that actually creates the hole in the bottom.
And that's the other theory, is that that's where some people will say that's where the ghosts come from, is because the ghosts were literally birthed from the Traveler, which I will be quick to point out also is not, like, there's also no evidence. Yeah, there's also no evidence on that. So I mean, there's that, and that leads down a very sticky rabbit hole, because anyways, it's just, there's a lot, here's the fun thing with Destiny lore, is there's a lot that's not confirmed one way or the other. And this is annoyingly one of the larger things that right now we don't have a solid answer for.
Yeah, Dino in the chats mentioning the cancel counterforce objectives part. So literally hey, here's the subroutine, here's how it would play out. Okay, this works, but I'm not actually going to pull the trigger. Let's go ahead and cancel it. And run it in the background again.
I mean, and that's not to say that it's not to say that we know that he has the capabilities.
Oh,
so
yeah, definitely.
I'm like, what that means is he still has the capabilities. I mean, to keep that in the back of your mind is just because he hasn't doesn't mean he won't.
Yep.
And that's actually, to me, that's actually a more interesting thought exercise, is because we know that he can. That's what to me, that's what that was. The big thing is like, oh, no, they gave him the ability to do this. Regardless of if he did or not, that means in the future, he still can.
To be fair, Dino is also pointing out that he may have that weapon capability, but it may not be as effective, because if it's never been tested, we don't know if it would actually be as effective. So
100%.
Yes, saying that he has the weapon is one thing. Saying that weapon's actually going to be useful.
Do anything?
Yeah, we don't know. So there's a lot of ifs and buts and all sorts of things in the way on this topic in particular. I don't know if we're going to get any confirmation one way or the other. I think it's one of those great mysteries of Destiny that may just sustain forever, which I'm okay with.
Yeah, I think again, to me, the big thing here is that we see that Rasputin has the ability. It's not did he or did he not. It's he has the ability. I think that for me, that's the big takeaway.
It also doesn't help that currently, I mean, I guess we can get more into that when we get into the advanced episode, because of what the seasonal activity actually does.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, yes, we will definitely get into that, because that plays into the reason why I keep going back to we see that he can. I'm like, there's a build up and a precedent being set here. And yes, the season activities is doing something that makes me want to keep coming back to that point. There's a reason I keep coming back to that point.
Yep. I think that's a good way to wrap up this episode, with that larger kind of theory that's just going to continue to hang, and we're going to dive into more of it, I'm sure, once we get into the advanced episode recording. Should we move it to shoutouts?
I think we should.
Charm, do you have any shoutouts for us?
I wrote some down in my notes. Gotta scroll to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got I got one for this episode, and then I'll save one of my other ones for the advanced episode, because
Absolutely.
so my first shout out is gonna go to my wife, my beautiful beautiful wife Jordan. She you guys, if you want to, you can find her at twitch.tv/mermaidcove. She streams at 3 p.m. Eastern on weekdays. For now, I say for now because we are moving soon, and that time is definitely going to change. Yeah, she does Stardew Valley, Sims 4. Started a game called Transistor, which you guys should definitely check out. That game is beautiful. The art style is amazing. Yeah, I love you, Nerdow.
Nice. Blue, do you have any shoutouts?
I just wanted to say a big thank you to Green, Pens, and Orchid for their help this past 48 hours. We basically were able to, or I was able to finalize after about 5 or 6 hours of coding, the quote and dialogue segment of the website. So we have the Toland segment up and running now. My next person-ish to tackle, I think, is going to be Shax. We already have a good headway thanks to Green's previous work there. So we have to organize it, and then I have to code it. So there's a bit of a turnaround time on that. But if you guys give a glance over on the lorenetwork.com, I think it's lorenetwork.com/Destiny dialogue, but there's also in the menu you can drop down to the action games and then go over to first person shooters, and it's right there. Let me know what you guys think about it. I tried to keep it simple. I think Green was the one that made the comment about it being a brainy quote. I tried to aesthetically make it where it's easy to see what's going on. We have unverified quotes in there, so just a heads up, if you are very averse to air quote spoilers potentially, there might be some. I think there's only one that I would really consider a spoiler, and it's not really a big one for Toland. And it's just because I haven't heard
that he killed
it.
his entire fire team, or
no,
there's we all know that.
Yeah, no, there's one that I haven't verified where it is. So if it's in game currently, it's not a big deal. If it's something that's it might be a future thing, or it's just an audio file that's in the system. So that's what unverified means, is that there technically are files within the API and the exe files, but I haven't been able to hunt down anybody getting them actually in game. So there's a couple things actually, and I'll put this in the advanced episode too. I'm looking for people who are interested in compiling, and I'm interested in helping verify. And if you have any thoughts and notes, you'll notice that some of them have links. That's where we can add additional notes. So that's the other thing that the redesign really was to give us more space to build off like the trivia facts and stuff like that. But really big shout out to the patients with Green, Pens, and Orchid. They went through a lot of probably painful explaining to me aesthetics, because that's not my
It wasn't that
strength.
bad. It was not that bad. You did good. You did good, Blue.
Yeah.
It is actually really neat, if you haven't looked at it, because this would actually be information that is not found anywhere online right now. You get a few of these quotes possibly in the Destiny wiki.
That was the catalyst for it. I was like yeah. I can't. And I did confirm. I didn't even think about this when designing it, but I went back and I confirmed. If you're in a browser and you hit F3, you can search. It is text searchable. So if there is a particular word that you're looking for, apparently that is completely working. I will take credit for it, but it was not an intent. It's just it was a nice thing that I accidentally found out.
Yeah, it's really interesting to go through too, because you hear him yelling at you on the Moon Seraph Tower event that we're going to get into a little bit all the time, and it's just mumbles at that point of a madman. And there are some actually nice little tidbits of lore tucked away in here. A lot regarding the Awoken people, a lot regarding like the fire team, Eris's fire team, just more fleshing out of the world, which is kind of nice. So major shout out to Blue on working on this. He's been sending me screenshots and clips of this for the last 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
He says the last 48 hours was a thing, but it's been for the last couple of weeks that we've been doing this, aka he's been doing this. So a big shout out to him for that. My other shout out actually goes to my best friend, Easy Cole.
Yes.
She actually just got hired on as a game dev. She's been trying for over 10 years to break into the game world, and she got hired on by I cannot remember the name of the company, but one of the former Destiny devs started his own gaming company essentially, and this game that they're getting ready to put out, which is kind of like a Rogue Tower based game. It's not Rogue Tower, but it's similar in the style where your ancestors, or after you die, when you come back, it might be like a descendant type thing, which that is all that I know about this game. But she just got hired on by them for a community management type position that was described to her. You're basically Deej for us, which is kind of cool. Yay. So poorly timed games. Thank you, Black Flag. So big shout out to her for that, and congratulations from all of us over here.
Yeah, be sure to check out a couple of their titles whenever they release them.
Yeah.
Got at least one player.
For sure. Blue?
Well, as always, I just want to take this moment and thank you for your time. And then remember, until next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer, stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring. Okay, leave the audio recording going. So I'm going to step away for a second to go to the restroom, and then we'll start up second one.
I am actually going to do the same.
Yeah.
My audio is still being recorded. I got to mute the mic.
I mean, you don't have to. Shay. So, disintegration. I haven't looked into disintegration. Honestly, I haven't had time really to look into anything. I will make a note to look into it. Actually, I'll write that down right now. Where'd my pen go? Cool. I got it. I wrote it down. So I will remember it now. Shay, PDFs. I have PDFs. Have I shown you guys the books that we got printed? Let's see. I think I showed them on, where'd my, hang on, let me, yeah, I got, some books printed. Hang on, I don't have it, I don't know if I have my, do I have the cam set up? Hey, I do have the cam set up. All right, hang on real quick. All right, let's get that rolling real quick. All right, there we go. All right, hey guys. Hang on real quick. Let me grab it.
I have returned.
Would you turn on your webcam?
I'm going to show Shay the books. He's asking
Ooh,
for PDFs.
Yeah.
I'm asking. They're asking.
Shay, check your Discord. I sent
okay, you
a
did.
link.
You did. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is. I just blanked on the dude's name. He put them together in a digital format, and then I found a company that will, and I can send you all this information, because we're not able to distribute them, obviously, for all the legal reasons and stuff, but they actually come out really nice. Let me see where.
They're amazing. He even included like the poetry from before D1. There's all the item text, like from.
So like this is.
Oh, it's so good.
See if that. So my notes are in there, so excuse that. But so like you can see all the different stuff. Like, I mean, it's really, really cool. He's got it broken. He broke it out in the PDF or the text files or PDF files, basically by season. So there are 14 volumes right now. I think I got the Dawn ones to you, but the most recent one is Season of the Dawn.
Yes.
Hopefully we're looking to get the season. It takes a while, obviously, because we want to make sure that we get everything, and so he does an amazing job. And also now that I have the format, I can also start doing them as well.
It's really, really nice because he has it broken down and it's just text. You're not getting a ton of pictures in here or anything like that. You're not getting any of the images tied to the cards. It's just a very straightforward textbook. And I love it. I actually bought miniature notebooks, just paper notebooks that I actually have that are going to go with each of the volumes.
As cross-reference notes?
Mm-hmm. Or just like questions based off of what I am reading and some of the different things to look up. Like I was rereading the poetry, the very first poem, the beginning one.
Oh, yeah.
Which it's sending me down its own little rabbit hole. But there's a lot of little tidbits in there, and the moon, and just all the different things about the sisters and Crota and Fundament possibly tying back into the old poems that I had no idea about. It's good stuff, though. Building shelves in your new home, might need to get those bound to put up there. They're really nice.
Yeah, and I can Shay, ping me on Discord and I can give you the links to the places that I used. They are actually not super bad as price-wise. I think for me, I got all 14 of them done and shipped to me, and they're actually really quick shipping, even with everything going on. I think it was like total, it was like 120, and it was, they say like, they're like, oh, we'll ship it within like, 2 or 3 weeks. It was like 5 days. I mean, like, they were very fast, and they did a really good job with the printing, and they will print. Yeah. Actually, that was the thing, is like, I sat down and I was like, I think it actually, I mean, it's like a little bit more expensive, but the other thing is it's very well done. Like, it's really well done, and the company that I found, I'm not remembering the name, but they will do just one-offs. So they're like, you don't like, a lot of times with publishers or businesses that bind books, they are like, you have to buy X amount. Well, for this particular example, that's actually a problem because we aren't allowed to for legal reasons. So I didn't want that. And so this company only does like one copy, and it was really nice, actually. So, and actually, I've recommended them to a couple people who are independent writers who have been looking for places to get books published, because they have an entire subset of their website that they will give you ISBN numbers and all that if you want to do the full run like that. And it's really actually very price effective. I was actually really surprised. But yeah, no, ping me on Discord and I can get you the information for it.
Man, don't mind me. I'm struggling over here just a little bit.
Why?
Because it's almost 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. That's my sleep schedule, like I was telling Green before we started recording, is really, really screwed up.
I know how that goes.
Yeah, like I stay up late, but then I have to be up at 6 a.m. for a recall, and then as soon as that recall is done, I go right back to bed.
Yep.
Yeah. If you need to take off, you are more than welcome to. You're also more than welcome to stay and work all the way through the advanced episode with us.
Yeah.
It's just no pressure either way. We totally get it.
That's the thing. I want to work through the advanced episode.
Well, that
Yeah,
being
there's
said,
lots of good
let's
stuff.
go ahead and kick it off then.
Do it.
All right, Cool.
Let me sit in the tower and delete things before I start doing the thing.
Delete. Okay. Do. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on May 8th, 2020 over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat as we continue our discussion over the updated information concerning Rasputin. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the advanced session of the week's exploration. Congratulations to those who have signed up for a deeper dive. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
Here is the toxic, aka poisonous Le Monarch slinging bow hunter, green-eyed music lover.
And
that was amazing.
And last but definitely not least, in the hot seat as guest goes, we have our good friend Charmed Pluto. Charmed, how are you doing?
Hello. I'm a little on the struggle bus right now, but we're gonna keep on chugging. We'll make it through.
Yeah. Coffee up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so jumping back into Rasputin. Do you want to start with the 7 Seraph set from this season?
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh. So
this set
reminds
me. The set's lore reminds me of something ripped right out of the Halo expanded universe.
Right?
It almost reminds me of the scene in Ghosts of Onyx when they're underground fighting everything and just stuff's blowing up and it looks like they're about to lose, then somebody blows themselves. It's crazy. If you haven't read Ghosts of Onyx, go read it.
Yeah, it also had really, for me, it was very Reach-like.
Yes.
Like the whole thing with the Last Stand and everything. Like I'm like, and the thing for me here is like the Seventh Seraph. Interestingly enough, for me, was it actually didn't have a lot to do with Rasputin.
No, surprisingly enough, it didn't.
It had a lot to do with the Traveler, and actually kind of the downside to the Traveler being, I don't know, a giant celestial body suddenly jumping into an atmosphere of a planet, because, you know, that has a bit of repercussions.
Just a little.
I love how they finally kind of addressed that problem with this set. They're like, oh yeah, that causes issues. Like, yeah, it does. Gravitational things are a big deal. But like, yeah,
Lucky it didn't hit the ground.
Oh my gosh.
If it hit the ground, we'd all be screwed.
But like the whole thing with the set is like it's all about like this one figure, and I want to say he's a human, because he mentions like wiping sweat off his brow and stuff like that. But it's First Lieutenant Arthur Voronin
is how I'm saying that.
And so it's literally another slice of a picture of what was happening right as the collapse started. So the Traveler is in the process. It's right at the end of the Traveler abandoning, I think it was Io, if I remember that off the top of my head.
Yep, it's Io.
And
you get a call out to Titan being unable to be reached here.
Yep. Like everything is just going to hell in a handbasket. And these guys, they're part of the military. They're trying to load up weapons, basically, and they're trying to. He mentions like if he drops it, it's going to be bad news for everybody in the near vicinity, which kind of points to, oh, that's explosives. Like, I'm like,
excuse me, Lieutenant. Why are they armed?
I don't think he knows.
Gonna have a heyday with you when you get out of this.
OSHA.
Oh
OSHA
no! Here she goes.
Care about what is going on in this universe. There's no goggles. There's no hand protection. They're wearing short sleeves half the time. Like, what is going on?
It has been 0 days since. I love that is a dynamic counter in the tower.
Oh man. I don't want to get us too far off topic, but have you seen the maintenance personnel that worked on the Vex Gate during
I'm telling you, there's no OSHA
That's
in
where
Destiny.
she got so upset.
There's no
trust
no cares.
Trust me, I did too. As someone who has to work around stuff that could
blow up,
jab an eye out, or possibly blow up if you don't do something right. I kind of like my PPE. Just throwing that out there.
Personal protection.
Yep.
Yeah. No, is there anything in these cards in particular? Because we have the Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3 kind of thing going on in here, where you're getting descriptions done and all these different aspects, primarily kind of the collapse idea, or like the life in a citizen during what we would assume is the collapse. At least that's what I assumed, with the fact that Titan has its own
initial moment, like that. The Traveler just arrived on Earth, so the air quote battle has not yet begun, but that is like right when everything's going to hell, right before the shots are fired, I think is what we're seeing here. It's the kind of the way I took it.
I take this as right, and I believe this is right at the maybe the back half, not quite the end of the Kraken Mare lore book.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I place at the very least the first like 2 or 3 entries. And like the Traveler arrives, Kraken Mare has fallen, it's been completely overrun or not overrun, just destroyed.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, if that's the case, and this is basically another vignette, I don't know how we're going to say it, that gives us a window into what was going on during the collapse, during the first time this happened. Is it not a little concerning that we're getting the Seraph tech now in game when the pyramid Dorito ships are coming for us, and we are all out of Cool Ranch dip.
Oh boy. I think part of the 7th Seraph gear not coming to us initially is because there's a breach in trust between Guardians and Rasputin. Because I mean, it does seem like the 7th Seraphs worked not directly for Rasputin or worked alongside him, more like.
Yeah. Well, the
So,
Seventh
like-
Seraph were described as like the creators of the bunkers. So like they were, I kind of get they were like the IT support people, basically. Is
Which,
the
a
feeling
bone
that
to
I
pick.
always got with them.
A bone to pick with the bunkers? Why
Just one?
is there
Just
a
one?
side where... I mean, there's a lot of bones to pick with those bunkers, but
Why is there
this
a subway?
one... why... Well, not even the subway. Why is there a elevator that is like one of those sideways-esque ones that we make fun of during the Brakazan strike?
Man, the Cabal are inefficient.
Inefficient. What? That's what we're jumping down, is one of those elevator shafts. I don't think the Cabal are the inefficient. That's...
No, because we jumped down the it's a slope, so it's
Right.
it's
It
a
would be...
that's
it
a
would be
factory that's a factory front load. Like basically it's not a front loader, but it's the factory floor to lower stuff down. It's
That's
so
what I'm
that they
saying.
don't have to.
That's the elevator. Because at the bottom of it would be kind of the elevator base of it, like the Brakazan that we ride up. We're just doing it in reverse. Anyway.
Oh, see, I don't think that was the elevator that he was talking about. Like,
No,
I think
I don't think so
the
either.
elevator that I thought they were talking about was one that literally went from side to side. Like, it literally was like left to right. Like there's no point to it.
Yeah, exactly. What is
There's
the point?
no point to that.
At
The
that-
one
at
on
that
a
point,
slope. The one with the slope. Yeah, it's just put wheels on it.
Yeah, like at that point, just get a K loader and load it
Right?
up with cargo and drive it around. That's what we do now.
Man, the
God,
Cabal are inefficient.
I don't even want to get into how like just dumb some of the Cabal tech is. Some of it is just it's not smart. Their smartest thing was their shield in D1.
Oh
that was
my
literally
God.
the smartest thing they had.
That
And
shield.
then they downgraded that and said, hey, here's the camera. Maybe shoot it and see what happens. Cabal got neutered. Oh, specifically the Red Legion did.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
they
no
are
one's
the-
ever claimed that the Cabal are intelligent.
Not
the
really.
The Cabal were. I think the Red Legion might not be.
That's fair. That's fair. So there's a call out that the 7 Seraphs are gone now. Essentially. The Seraphs are gone now. Everything is gone. So those blades you gave the Guardians belong to the Seraphs. Yes, you trust them. Everything is gone. Dino puts that text in chat. There's a lot you can read into that, and the fact that the 7 Seraphs, if they are kind of the group that helped design these different defense bunkers, which is what I would assume these are. Would you say that they're defense bunkers because they're the way they're positioned, or what do we think about that?
I don't necessarily think they're defense bunkers. I mean, so much as fallout shelters. Like, because the way they're opened up, the way you worm your way into them, and how deep underground they are, you don't defend from a position like that. You hunker down and wait for the storm to pass in a position like that.
Sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
The thing, though, if we look at the different bunkers that we know about, there's the bunker in the EDZ. There's the bunker in Russia that we did in this Saber strike.
Yeah, bunker RAS-3, I believe is what it was called.
So there's 2 bunkers on Earth that we know about. There's the bunker on the moon in Archer's Line. There's the bunker on Io that is part of this event as well, which the one on Io still confuses me as far as the location of it. Moon makes somewhat a bit of sense. Io
makes no sense whatsoever.
I'm still trying to
You would
Mm.
think there would be a Seraph bunker on Mars, if anything, because that's where I thought the third bunker was going to be.
I mean, Mars has the base of Rasputin, though, and the whole point of what we're
True.
doing this season is we're reconnecting Rasputin to these. And there's the other thing is we're only touching 3 of the bunkers. There are 13
12
mentioned, but isn't there a 13th one that isn't
Oh yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah. No,
original
you're right.
listing?
You're right. Yep.
So there's 13 possible locations to have gone to. So who's to say that there isn't necessarily one on Mars, on the other side of Mars, where we did the original Mars mission in like that Freehold area?
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, we have...
and we know that there are facilities on Mars that we don't have access to in game because of web lore.
Right. And if you look at the map inside of the bunkers, there's listings on the wall of all the different locations we have been to throughout the Destiny timeline. Whether it's you have Mars, you have kind of the Saturn type thing with the dreadnought and everything there. I wonder if those are locations of actual bunkers, possibly, because there is the bunker that Anna goes to, which Blue and I have discussed doing an entire episode on the legacy web lores, because there's a lot to unpack in there. And that second Legacy 2, if I remember correctly, it's out by Saturn. Blue or Dino.
Oh, the Echo? That's the Echo project?
Right, but
yeah,
that's
but I
one
wouldn't
of the
consider
bases.
I was about to say I wouldn't consider that a bunker necessarily.
But those bunkers are where she's using to upload parts of Rasputin back to him. Right? Like that's the whole point of all these different locations, is she's gathering Rasputin's pieces and putting them back together. He is being the Osiris of war mines at the moment.
We're taking fragments and putting them back together.
Yeah, let me real quick. It's
tyrant.
out at Uranus.
Okay, so even further out.
Caelus.
Yeah, okay.
Caelus station? I'm mispronouncing that. But this, yeah, because Echo is the contingency program. So it's not so much, it wasn't so much a bunker to regain portions of Rasputin as much as to, I think, understand what they were building a contingency for.
But the different things that she's uploading back to Rasputin, these are pieces that he no longer has access to.
Correct. Yeah. But I don't, did she upload, I can't remember off the top of my head, did she upload something from Echo? Because I know she sent it back to the Vanguard. I'm scrolling down to the bottom real quick.
I don't remember it. I'd have to read over it again.
Yeah, that would be that's a legacy episode question when we get to that episode, because there's so much in those 2 web lores to unpack. It's crazy. So let's talk a little bit about...
She got the mainframe data, and that's what she did.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the other aspects that we've gotten this season. One of the biggest being the Warmind artifact.
Ah, yes. I actually saw Rhino talk about this the day it dropped. And then I actually looked into it a little bit. Kanjali are usually like ceremonial daggers. They're meant to look really pretty. They're not actually meant to be weapons, from what I could look at. Right. Like you would wear this to basically flex on somebody about how wealthy you were.
Well, there's also power in the... so a dagger is a focus point, right?
Yes.
A lot of these ceremonial weapons are not necessarily meant as just a pretty thing. They're also meant as the quote-unquote metaphysical ability to direct energy or to direct purpose. So there's a little bit more symbology in that effect, in the fact that we're using a Kanjali in-game as our artifact. We are wielding the focus point now to try and complete this season, so to speak.
Yeah, focal point for where to point Rasputin's weaponry at the end of all of it.
At
the Almighty.
If he cooperates, because no guarantees.
I mean, I feel like the only person Rasputin even remotely listens to is Anna. So I feel like if we gave it to Anna and she pointed it at the Almighty, he'd be like, okay, that thing's gonna disappear now.
Does he really listen to Anna? Because Mr. I am supposedly shut off in her headset shows up randomly in one of the things, even though he was not supposed to be there.
Rasputin, how long have you been here?
The smell of cinnamon. I love the synesthesia aspect of Rasputin's communication style with Anna. It just makes me so happy.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that opening cinematic for Season of the Worthy a little bit. Because we have just all the actual aspects of the season that have happened. Where we get the idea that the Almighty is going to crash into Earth, somehow bypassing so many different things in between the sun and us.
Again, going back to the Red Legion are not smart. There are.
But it's working. They're lucky.
They are lucky. That is for sure. There are a lot, and I mean a lot of things that should be going wrong with just putting the boosters on max, pointing it at the Earth, and full sending. You've got at least one other planet to avoid. Never mind all the gravity from those celestial bodies interacting with the Almighty. It's a mess.
I think the most terrifying thing, as far as if you're talking about the speed at which the Almighty would have to travel at in order to make it to Earth in the time span of this season, which is what, 70? It was like 74 days for this season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Almighty is moving. Like that thing, it is moving. That is one way of putting it.
Yeah, just a bit. So at the end of that cinematic, we get that realization from Zavala that maybe we have to work with Rasputin to be able to, like, he swallows a little bit of his own pride in it, I think, with his grudge against Rasputin, and has decided that now he's begrudgingly going to go and ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it there? I'm sorry to interrupt, Crane. Is it ever established why Zavala and Rasputin are more or less at odds? I don't remember if it was.
It was a web lore. Basically, when the speaker was MIA, KIA, whatever you want to believe, Zavala got access to a lot more information than he even knew existed. And a lot of that information contained information that we have yet to see about Rasputin. And so it kind of, and that was kind of where at the beginning, I can't remember which season it was, but the whole thing, or I think it was Warmind actually, when the Zavala was like, he got really pissed and he showed up at the mind lab. And he was like, what are you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, and he started yelling and, you know, all this stuff. And everyone, like, my biggest bone to pick with that whole thing was like, how did you get here? Like, I was like, it was a very small thing, but I was really confused how he like got there. But like the whole thing for his like frustration with Rasputin is basically similar to Osiris. Is, you know, again, he just doesn't trust him. He just, I mean, and from Zavala's point of view, it actually makes sense because he's got, you know, the well-being of quite a few people riding on his shoulders. So dealing with something that powerful that is also that untrustworthy is probably not a comfortable position for him to be in.
I feel like Zavala also kind of sees himself in Rasputin. And sorry to cut you off, Blue.
Oh no, yeah.
Like he kind of see, and that's a later cutscene. Like it really does seem like he feels like he sees himself in Rasputin. He saw, like, they're both super afraid of failure. Like, Rasputin's not programmed to fail; he is programmed to win. Zavala doesn't like failure in really any regard, but unlike Rasputin, he's not willing to shrug off the morality.
Right.
Yeah, he's got.
Well, and that's where I was kind of drawing the connection between the two of them with the whole Forsaken bit. Is like, again, you know, they both are, they both have the same end goal. It's just one, Rasputin kind of views the end as justifying the means, and Zavala says, Zavala is kind of on the opposite end of that spectrum with the whole, no, you can't sacrifice the means to, like, you can't do that. Like, there is a reason to maintain morality, and that's the biggest thing that I've always kind of noticed between the two of them. But yes, I think that ultimately you're right. You hit it on the head. I think the two of them are going for the same conclusion. It's just the path that they're taking is
right
significantly different.
Well, that's a good segue into what happened on IO. The cutscene we witnessed on IO between Zavala and Rasputin, where you see Zavala basically say, Anna insists you understand the stakes, convince me. And then Rasputin literally displays a hologram of the solar system with the pyramid ships at the edge of the system.
And then also plays back the Kraken Mirror.
You mean hacks Zavala's ghost?
Mm-hmm. So
like he did back
don't get me started on that. Yeah, don't get me started on that rabbit hole. That has so many implications that make my brain hurt.
The thing is, it's not the first time that's happened.
That's what I'm saying. Like the thing that that's that rabbit hole. I may have sent Blue down that rabbit hole the other day with me, with the whole why does Rasputin have access to ghost coding, essentially?
Dangerous connotations.
But anyway,
brother is always watching.
This is true. But the perfect way to do that is through tiny little cameras all over the solar system. And guess what? You have a perfect venue for that in the Ghost. Anyway, going back to that cutscene, you have that ghost getting hacked and playing a recording of the Mayday of the New Pacific Arcology, specifically. You get Rasputin's recording from back in the day from that Blue. What did he do? I am not even paying attention to chat.
Ghosts are Destiny's nanny cams.
I mean, they really are. They kind of are. They're constantly with us. They know everything you've done. They're worse than Santa. That's the most PG version. I could go with that. So be glad.
You get they're like the Woody in Toy Story when he spins his head around.
Oh my god!
Everything.
Terrible.
Let's not focus on that, shall we?
Yep. But so New Pacific Arcology, the Mayday comes in. You get that kind of reveal in game of what would be the Kraken Mare book. So Zavala says, "Hey, you were there at the collapse. We're buddies now." Because as far as never mind my feelings on how Zavala made that much of a 180 that quickly based off of that one thing without having any questions about how Rasputin did that. But he comes around, and when they come, we will stand together as equals, as guardians, because not Rasputin, but Zavala loves to make that claim. We're all guardians here.
It's his second favorite phrase, right underneath the word indeed.
I mean,
Tilk.
Yes, Stargate. Anyway. So from there, we are sent out into the system, and this whole connection, or all these different connections have been happening as we're unlocking these bunkers on the EDZ, on the moon, and on Io. You upgrade all the bunkers, you get all the little toys, you get the little bot, which I don't know if you guys have named your little bot.
I love Brobot. That's what
you call him. Brobot? Okay.
I call him Brobot.
I kind of want to get a funny, like, I summoned Bob, or something like that. Just something silly, but...
Oh, you mean the heavy frames?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I call him Brobot.
I
Yeah.
call him.
So you
I
get-
call him cannon fodder.
I mean, he is that. He's a really good distraction.
He's really good at that. Like, I'm like, go distract the two champions who are bugging me right now.
So after you upgrade that, the Seraph Tower events and everything, you're going through that, and the very first section, the first run through of those 3 locations were a basic Seraph Tower event where you were building the tower, right? That was the whole point of those.
You were building satellites.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
And-
Anna comments on them a lot.
Now with
And-
the new one, you're shooting the satellites off, correct? That's a launch sequence.
I believe so. I haven't
think
done a
that's the
Seraph Tower
I think
event
that's
in
the
a while.
implied thing is because you're launching. I think like the first thing was like you're basically building staging platforms, and now you're actually launching the warsats. Not war sats, but like the whatever.
The defenses.
Because I think that's why it takes longer, right? Because it's more complicated now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I've only completed it once.
Yeah, I haven't even completed it after the update one.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah. I always thought that we were building the so-called Aurora knives.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you get the we mentioned Legacy earlier, and one of the things called out in Legacy is when Anna approaches Uranus. Let's see here. There is the moment where it's the OF moment.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I pulled Legacy 2 up. Let's see here. The jump drive misalignment. Let's see here. As Anna pushes on the flight stick, laser fire. Basically, everything turns from the planet and shoots up at them. Laser fire.
It's like oh, they noticed this.
They are called out as warsats. So
yeah,
because
that's when
warsats into the planet outer
because that's also
zone.
when you see Rasputin hacking them and taking them back. Because Jinju fires spikes, basically not information spikes, but remote access spikes, and once they hit the warsat, Rasputin is able to establish a remote connection to them and bypass their controls.
Assimilate them into his control, which is also terrifying.
Rather quickly too, I might add.
All your warsats are mine.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Harbinger from Mass Effect. Just, assuming direct control.
Mine now.
It's mine now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things in this whole assimilation. The tyrant. I would say that is a very apt description of Mr. Big Orange and Russian.
Big Red.
Big Red, yeah. Mm-hmm. Literally. Who also likes using the scent of cinnamon. Mr. Big Red.
It's almost like that's his favorite brand of chewing gum.
I mean, we're not sponsored by them, but if you would like to, anybody from that chewing gum company.
I'm not going to say no.
Right? I like Big Red. I'll chew Big Red while doing the podcast. Keep my breath fresh so it goes into your ears so smoothly.
The taste of cinnamon overwhelming your synapse.
I mean, the other thing too is, and this is something that I made a comment to Green about, was it also points to the fact that the Rasputin that we know in game today is not the tyrant.
No.
Like, which, think about that for a second, because that is a bit of a hefty realization.
Well, that's one of the things I kind of mentioned back before, in the fact that the different points that Anna is going to gather Rasputin to him, to gather up more of that information, that reconnect all these different assets. We are building him up again to be maybe not the same tyrant he may have been back in the day, but he's going to get a lot closer to what he was than where he is now.
Correct. Yeah.
Let's just hope we don't reconnect that little rage problem he's got, considering the last time that they sent a a team of Guardians into RAS 3, I believe.
Well,
Yeah.
We found their bodies scattered across the Skywatch.
I mean, Iron Lord's story has its own ups and downs and ties into this season that we're not going to go super into, mainly because it's spoilers.
All I'll say on that is just Fellwinter, my dude.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
But we will get some information on that very event that you're talking about, which is nice. So the thing with Rasputin having that little anger issue, the whole idea of him defending his different regencies or his different locations throughout the system. First, we had if you remember the very first mission we did where we connected Rasputin to everything.
The array.
And it was a total accident, the array.
One of my favorite missions. It has one of the best songs in the game.
It does. And it also has one of the best little shoot 'em up venues, basically, where it's just like things running by as you're standing in one point, shooting out at this. It's like a carnival game. There we go. You're shooting the ducks.
Yeah.
Or the hive.
Put a tether right in the door and watch them all run into it. Fire one round and watch them all explode.
Well, you didn't have that when D1 dropped. Tether didn't come around until later.
True.
But yeah, it's a fun mission. But that whole, if you think about what we know he was back in the Iron Lords, where he basically defended his position and did not let any of the Iron Lords get near to his bunker at that point in time by either sending frames out in defense, which we're going to get more information. Have you guys seen the frames by the Seraph Tower events? Have you guys seen those?
Mm-mm.
No, I did not.
Okay, so if you activate, or if there's a Seraph Tower event activated and it gets to a certain point, there will be 2 frames of Rasputins that are fighter frames. They're not Red Jacks or anything like that will show up randomly, and you'll see 2 little defense icons pop over their heads. If you help them fight their way through some enemies, they'll take you to a Rasputin node, similar to the nodes on Mars, when you had to unlock all the different nodes back in the Warmind event. You can get a tiny little reward for defending them. It's not a hard little thing to do. You can do it solo, but you follow them and you help them get to the Rasputin node. They're actually really, really cute, and they have terrible aim. I agree, Black Flag, they are worthless as far as frames go.
Aww.
But they are adorable, and I help them out whenever I see them.
Because it's little old Rasputin cross the firefight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get 2 materials in a blue. But yeah, Stealth Fiction has a very good question of why are they looking for the nodes? And why are the nodes showing up? And I have been to those locations where the nodes spawn. They're not there until that very specific event happens. So why are they spawning nodes in? Why is Rasputin spawning a node in? Is that how he's exerting control over the area? Is he exerting control like he did with the Vex? These are all questions that I would like to kind of throw out to the classroom.
I mean, given that I haven't seen these, I'm not really sure I can comment very much. But from what it sounds like, it almost looks like a physical transfer of data. Like from whatever is going on at the tower at the time of building the Aurora knife, the satellite, whatever we want to call it, and those 2 frames taking this information, physically carrying it from the tower to this node to then get transferred back to Rasputin's main consciousness for analysis. I guess that's kind of how I'm seeing it.
I mean, it could be that they do not spawn directly on the tower event. They're nearby the tower event when they come into play. And they're generally in the line of where a series of normal spawns for the tower event goes down. The one in the EDZ is the easiest to spot, I think, at least. So when you're doing the Seraph Tower event, you'll see, if you look up to where Zur is, where that fallen skiff is in the that area, you'll see the two frames on the bridge where the pikes normally spawn for that area.
Huh. I'll have
So
to
those,
head that way at some point and check that out.
yeah, it's kind of a fun little Easter egg almost for that event. But those happen. So Rasputin, going back to Rasputin being evil with the whole Siva thing back in the day, Rasputin had sent out those frames. Then Rasputin basically threw everything he could at the Iron Lords to try to stop them, which at the time sounded super impressive, but also it seemed a little weak compared to what we know Rasputin could do. But you have to remember he was really crippled at that point in time. He didn't have access to a whole lot of things. He was just trying to drop war sats on us all the time. He couldn't throw the Aurora knives. He couldn't shoot things at us. He just tried to drop the satellite on top of our heads.
He got Wei Ning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
you got me a couple of times.
He was really mad at her. She punched the anomaly.
Oh!
Which is still one of my favorite things.
I forgot about that card. Was that in a card or was that just?
Yeah, I think it's the anomaly card if I remember right.
Oh my gosh! Made a beeline from orbit. Boom!
One Guardian punched it.
What happened to them? Warsat landed on her. Oh man.
Anyway, Rasputin has been scary. So he was super not powered then and was still able to, in some ways, defend himself. I still want an explanation of what happened within the Iron Tomb.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I interpreted in that section, that cutscene specifically for our new letters out there, there's a cutscene that kind of shows what happened in the Iron Tomb, but it's directed and made to look like it's from Saladin's point of view, like how he watches what happens, and well, considering what the Fallen did, the command they gave Siva, and how it just kind of exploded out of control, I kind of get the impression that they attempted to give Siva a command and it turned on them. But then there's also cards that say that Rasputin just turned Siva on them anyway.
Well, the main problem with the command structure that the Fallen gave him was that there was no escape path. So it was a continuous loop that it got locked into, which is why it backfired. I wouldn't say, because Siva is in and of itself not cognizant of anything. It does exactly what it's directed to do. Like, there is no sentience behind Siva at all.
No, not at all. Siva is mites that can be programmed to do a thing,
correct.
And they will do that thing until their command says to stop doing that thing. Consume, enhance, replicate is a loop.
Yeah, and it's dangerous because what happened basically was there was no complexities in it, so you get infected with Siva mites, and well, they're going to consume, enhance, replicate, and that's exactly what they did. It just that doesn't mean good things.
It means really bad things.
So that was more of the whole thing. Now, that being said, there's hints and stuff that it might not have been exactly on the up and up where they got Siva, and all that. But as far as like the whole losing control of Siva, I definitely would say that was entirely on them. Like, that was entirely, hey, we don't know how to program things, and this sounds good. Let's not beta test it. Let's test it in production, because that always works.
This is why you don't let the 3 Titans do the programming.
It's also why you don't let the what was it, a Fallen? Was he a Dreg before he turned into Axis?
He was
a priest, right?
Yeah, he was
an
a
Archon.
priest.
He was an Archon priest.
He was a disillusioned Archon.
That's why you don't let them do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, he was not happy with the servitors, and that's a whole episode in and of itself too.
Yes, it is.
One that I would love to be a part of, because I consider myself a bit of a savant when it comes to the Fallen. I love their stories too.
Yeah, I mean, Black Flag's making that point. He was kind of like Fickrell in the sense that he had become disillusioned with the triumvirate of the Fallen hierarchy.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
And then him and I think is it Voxus?
Vosik.
Yeah, Vosik. We're like, oh wait, this allows us to become gods. Yay! And it was just.
I don't like the way the government's run.
It was downhill from there.
I don't like the way the government's running. Just let me become God.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Because that was the whole point of the pit fights, if I remember correctly. I can't remember what they were called.
Archon's Forge.
Archon's Forge was to.
I love those. Sorry. Just
no, yeah. Back. Yeah, no, well, but I mean, that was the whole point, was the Archon's Forge was you brought a Siva Mite, and if you proved yourself worthy, basically you would infuse it, or the Fallen would infuse it with themselves. And so it was like they were perfecting themselves via that process.
That was good content. I enjoyed the Archon Forges. I thought they were fun. Anyway, as far as lore goes, they are also kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was also when we got the first hints of the Ghost Network, if I remember correctly, because that was Link, I want to say, the unpaired ghost who got caught in the Archon Forge. That was when we dropped.
About that guy.
Yeah, he was. I think that's when he got caught or whatever.
Interesting.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, I feel like we have kind of tucked ourselves into a little bit of a rabbit hole.
How
it
so?
happens.
Just going from Rasputin to Siva, now just talking about the Siva crisis, but...
Siva is a major part of Clovis Bray tech, and Rasputin having access to it has always been kind of a interesting paradigm, because if the Fallen were able to create something so ridiculous as access and whatnot with the little ability that they have, the fact that Rasputin has access to it and has had access to it for many, many years, apparently, maybe not the ability to control it so refined, I guess. I don't know. Why hasn't he used that? Was he just trying to hide that ability? Like, there's a lot of different things that with Rasputin and Siva in there. And even now, because he still has access to it. He's had access this entire time.
Yeah. I don't know. Something about an AI with zero morality in control of a bunch of nanites that can literally do whatever he says on command. That's a bit.
But how do you think we get the heavy frames?
Yeah, I think it's also a resource. It's a resource management tool too, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think Siva is it's a resource hog, because it has to be constantly monitored to allow for the control and everything like that. And so if Rasputin's in the process of doing other things, it's probably not anything nefarious other than the fact that he's like, I don't have enough resources to dedicate to keeping these little things in control.
Which is why he's using us to keep the enemies off of them while he's trying to build the Warsat, or while he's building the other things. We are literally the distraction so he can do it.
Yep.
For all his might and intellectual prowess, he does still need a good distraction.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's also just, again, resource efficiency. Why waste resources on creating a distraction if you can get a distraction for basically free?
Yep.
And that's, at least that's the way that's basically the way I feel about it, is like it's literally just the computer being like, oh nope, I don't need to utilize those resources. I can free them up to make this that much faster.
Yeah.
So we could say
we are Rasputin's antivirus software.
I
mean, you're not wrong, Black Flag. It's kind of you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
And just like any antivirus software, sometimes it just doesn't seem to work.
Mm-hmm.
But
Look at you, blueberries.
as far as a question that was asked in chat about whether or not we'll actually see Siva again, I do not think we're going to see Siva in the same capacity, but we do see Siva already with the way that Rasputin is able to create not only the heavy frames, but also things like the javelin itself, which seems to be a form, an energized, weaponized form of Siva itself.
It does have the aesthetic similarities to it.
It does. I kind of also see it as like a mini, like, and the only reason I say this is because we don't really know what a real Aurora knife looks like, but I feel like the Valkyrie is like a small scale, like personal sized Aurora knife. This weapon that, when overcharged, could take down a worm god at one point.
I could see that.
So, one final thing I want to talk about Rasputin, which is one of the newer things we talked about a tiny bit, was the way that Rasputin actually communicates with Anna. Which I find fascinating in so much as Anna apparently understands Russian, for one. We've had a few instances where he's communicated, it seems like that, with her. But more often, rather than speaking in his lovely robot Rasputin voice, he uses things like color and scent to make note of things he is approving of or disapproving of and stuff like that. Blue, any thoughts on this method? Charmed or Blue?
It actually has some very dark connotations to me, because one of the ways that you can create that effect is by manipulating synapses firing. And I already have a problem with the way that ghosts interact with guardians, and if the ghosts can interact with guardians that way, and then you have Rasputin interacting with ghosts, it's not a huge jump to kind of see a slippery slope there.
He's not just interacting with ghosts that way. He's interacting with Anna that way. Directly.
No, but that's my point. If a ghost has a telepathic connection to the guardian, and then Rasputin can control ghosts, it's a bridge, right? And that's
not
one.
Direct.
It's not necessarily direct, but for all intents and purposes, it could be. It could appear to be direct, because if he's using the ghost as a proxy connection, similar to the way that he took over the war mines, if he's using the ghost as a remote spike to the guardian, there's a lot of potentiality there for some very interesting developments as far as the story of what a guardian is, what a ghost is, which is something that we still don't really have an answer to. So,
not in the grander scheme of things. Obviously, as far as the game mechanics, we know what ghosts are. They're door openers.
Yeah.
And backpacks.
No,
they hide. No, they hide. They hide in your backpack. You didn't do anything. The captain did everything. You hid in his backpack.
But they are also able to pull out all the different items.
Or from that same strike, I am never leaving your backpack
again.
I love that strike. I think that part is funny.
There's also the
shake of the web. Shake of the web.
There's also the Saber 2 strike from D1, where he's like, "I want to get a bigger shell." Zavala's like, "No."
God, that would be terrifying. I'm glad we have not had that happen. Of all of the conversations we've had about the ghost design in the game, just from a aesthetic preference and whatnot, could you imagine flying around with a shank-sized ghost?
I wouldn't
and
fly
everybody's
around.
shooting at it. Like, the ghost comes out, your own teammate's gonna shoot at it. Like, no, you do not need to be like 12 times bigger. You just don't.
But he wants the hardware increase.
At that point, Green, I'm saying screw my Sparrow. I'll just ride Ghost on battle. He's got guns now.
Yeah. Your Cade going through the prison of elders.
Exactly. How is that not amazing?
Oh my gosh.
That might be the Titan in me talking.
Oh man. Okay, so we're probably in agreement that the idea that Rasputin has these conversations via possible synapses manipulation is cause for concern.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's, and it could be nothing more than just a clever way of, writing a different way of communication, because, Rasputin doesn't have the most pleasant voices, even when he's happy, apparently. And so, like, I do want to temper my statement there, being that is my own paranoia kind of flooding into the situation, because that's where my brain kind of just immediately jumps to. There's not a lot of evidence showing, oh yeah, no, he's taking over, blah blah blah. That's not what I'm saying at all. There's very little evidence that we have that. Of course, there's very little evidence that that's not the situation. So, take that how you will. But I do think that it's an interesting little tidbit, because of just the way that we have seen Rasputin interact with Ghost. We have seen Rasputin interact with Guardians. And Anna, for all sakes and purposes, for all intents and purposes, really, Anna is, I like her character, but one of her big flaws is that she is blind to the fact that Rasputin might not be telling her everything. Like, she trusts Rasputin, I think, more than she should.
Almost.
Yeah, and I think, and the tempering fact to that being, oh well, that's because blah blah blah, is because it's being manipulated, is the fact that Zavala doesn't. Like, the fact that the Guardians have very disparate reactions to Rasputin, I think, is actually a case or a tick against, any mental manipulation shenanigans going on. Not to say that it's not possible, but that it's not as widespread. But I think that if there is a flaw in Anna's character, it is that she is too trusting of Rasputin.
Flaw being just like we're dogging on the writers, more of flaws, and this is a written character.
No. Yeah, this is an intentional.
Yes.
This is an intentional character flaw.
Correct.
Like, I don't. No. Sorry. Yes, thank you, Green.
Like,
that is not an oversight. That is, I think, an intentional, and I appreciate it, because I think that's where you see the difference between her and Zavala really come through. And I agree with you, Green, that the 180 that Zavala seems to do there with the bunker, I kind of
seems a little out of character.
It seems out of character. I'm hoping that we get clarification on maybe something that happened before because if I remember right, we didn't really get an indication of why he was even there.
No, we did not.
Like, he just showed up, right? Like,
So the first bunker in the EDZ, when you unlocked it at the beginning of the season,
we open it with him and Anna.
Yeah, with
right,
him
and he
Anna.
gives us an increased authority over that bunker.
Yep.
Because I remember that was one of the dialogues that I was diving through looking for here, is like he gives us basically unparalleled authorization for the EDZ bunker. I don't remember him ever weighing in on the lunar bunker or the IO bunker. Which the IO bunker, I'm like, all right, whatever. He shows up. I get that.
Yeah, the lunar bunker, the only person you meet there is Anna, and she's really not happy with the hive that are in there.
Oh god, yeah, that was
delivers
the best.
one of the sickest blade barrages I have ever seen.
I think it's
literally just I can't remember what she yells. Like, does she yell like "go home" or "get out of here"? Or something?
Get out!
Get out!
Yeah,
yeah, it's just get out. I was like, I felt that, and I just walked into the room.
The thing that, and I could see a story reason why Zavala shows up on IOB is, and it's exactly what you guys were describing. Both Zavala and Anna show up at the EDZ. Then we get Anna alone on the moon. And what's to say that Zavala and Anna basically didn't split up and have been bouncing all
Right.
over the system,
Yeah.
opening these different things up?
Well, and it's
That
not
being
like Zavala
said-
doesn't have other things to do.
Correct, but he shows up on Io. He has this interaction with Rasputin and becomes incredibly disturbed by it. Basically forces us to go through the rest of the bunker, which, if I remember correctly, the bunker was cleared. There was nothing in there after that point. So either Zavala already did it, and we were just catching him as he was leaving and having this conversation with Rasputin, or there was nothing actually in there, and by us unlocking the bunker gave access to the bad guys. I still have a bone to pick on how the bad guys are getting into these bunkers. Just
as Black Flag
questions?
says, we're Windows Defender. You're defended. Nope.
Hey,
No,
guys, maybe we should close the door on the way out.
But here's the thing. It's a resource thing. It's a resource. It 100% is, because you can buy chips that say the bunker will stay clear.
Oh,
for
that's
this
right.
day or for
That's
this
right.
You are forcing Rasputin to clean up his own mess if you buy those, but you have to spend resources to do it. It is literally a resource management thing.
So in this situation, we're the
free labor.
We're the parents, and we're picking up his room for free.
Yeah, that is 100%. We are cleaning up his grody, sand-ridden, hive-infested, overgrown plant. There's a coffee cup that's in every single bunker on the left side of the bunker if you're facing in towards the control box. Every single one of them has the same coffee cup.
Yep, I want that coffee
gross.
cup.
It's gross.
I've never noticed
correct.
that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I love that. I can't get it out of my head now.
So, oh god.
Season
That
11,
implies that
season
Rasputin
of the
drinks
divorce.
Coffee.
Who gets the kid, Rasputin?
Ooh,
I don't want him.
I sure as hell don't want him.
I love you, Raspy, but no.
Nope.
Dino, there's a precious fish I go say hello to every day. You know what? All jokes aside, I really do love the environmental artist for putting in those little things, because that is just one of the joys. Yeah, that is just one of the joys of doing that stuff. Like, just, oh my god. The coffee cups,
on Nessus.
the frogs and the beetles, right? Aren't they beetles that are on Nessus?
Yeah, I think so. And then if you are in the EDZ, there are fishes all over the place.
Yeah.
There's fishes on the Crucible map, the fortress.
There's a little
I have
Vex
been
ducks.
killed at multiple times.
Are the Vex ducks still on Pantheon?
Yes.
Yes.
No, maybe.
Okay,
I don't know anymore.
I was just playing on that map, so I'll have to see if I can go back. But I know in D1 they had the Vex ducks. They were like the best things ever.
Cats. Oy, oy, oy.
Oh yeah, the cats. Yeah, like I do have to kind of, my concluding remark is, as much as I love ragging on little things, it's also the little things that I absolutely love.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's just funny. I just use the coffee cup as a way to say that he has not cleaned up his dishes in hundreds of years. Rasputin,
I don't want
young
to
man,
know.
you are grounded.
I don't want to know what thing or things may or may not live in that grody coffee cup now. You're gonna pick it up, turn it upside down. There's a new species sitting there.
We'll just have Foe and DM show up randomly.
It's the Calvin and Hobbes thing with the dinner. That's always trying to eat him before he can eat it.
Oh god.
Oh man.
So, in conclusion, Rasputin is a moody teenager
Who won't clean up his room.
who won't clean up his room.
Unless you pay him.
His dad is Zavala, and his mom is Anna Bray.
And his dad does not approve.
Nope.
Unless he really, really needs something.
Dad always says, indeed. Says it way too much.
So shout outs.
Okay. Before I laugh myself into a coma. Oh, geez, where is it? Where is it on my notes? There's my shout out page. So I got I might not end up sticking around for top 3 because it is 2 o'clock in the morning now. But yeah, I got 2 shout outs. So the first is gonna be WTF Game Nation. They took me
Mhm.
through some of my first raids ever. Ended up actually getting me Anarchy. So, there was someone in our team who that's all they've been grinding for. I had never done Scourge of the Past before this now, and this was my first time. And I walk over to the chest at the end of the thing and pulled out an Anarchy. I was the only one that got it, and
Nice.
all I remember hearing in the Discord was fists slamming into keyboard.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
You know that's
I
a
was like,
good
"I'm
that's a good
sorry,
raid
I
right
stole
there.
your
Is
Anarchy."
that's a good raid when someone breaks something.
I heard fists on keyboards.
It's like
And
Vault of Glass all over again.
Yep.
but for real though, they're super good. Toast and Peanut do some amazing work. They know the raids really well. They do Sherpa carries all the time, and they're not the kind of Sherpa that'll be like, all right, you just kill stuff, we'll actually do the mechanics. No, they will do trial by fire. You will learn the mechanics by the time you are done with the raid.
Nice.
And
Nice.
it's really awesome. And then my final shout out is gonna go to the AMC mod team, the Admira Cognitum mod team and admins. You guys are awesome. I miss playing Destiny with you guys, and hopefully at some point we can act when my work schedule isn't crazy, or maybe when we're not in a weird quarantine where my sleep schedule is all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Play some Destiny again, or even Jackbox. I'd take Jackbox at this point. I miss you
Jackbox is
guys.
fun. It's a good one.
And that's my shoutouts.
Nice. So my shoutouts is a shoutouts to the future listeners of this. It's going to take a few weeks, I think, before Blue and I are super comfortable thinking that this is not getting released immediately after we record it, essentially.
Mhm.
It's going to take a few weeks. So it's
Weird.
going to be patient with us. So shoutouts to you guys for continuing to be patient as we grow and expand and we figure out how best to make this show work for you guys and for us. So it's a shout out to you guys on that. That being said, next time you hear from us, you will be listening to us and Hey, I'm Dead Again, or Cam, about the state of the Vanguard. So look in your podcast downloading abilities, applications, words are hard, for that when it comes out. Blue, shoutouts for you.
No, really just another big thank you to everyone who has helped out with getting the dialogue redesign up and running. I know there's a couple people who have asked for a couple specific people to come up next. If you have a request of someone or a specific character that you want to get in there, please just message us, whether that's on Twitter, Discord, email. Use the contact form on the website, whatever makes or whatever is easiest for you, just so I can put them on a list, and so I know what will make you guys what will actually be helpful to everyone. But again, just a big shout out to everyone who has helped out with that. It's been a bit of a labor of love, if you will. But and then, as always, I wanted to thank you for your time. And until next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer. Stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring.
Woo! Now we can stop recording.
Yay! Oh, wrong button. There we go.
Cool. And we're just going to export that as, if you can, a WAV format. If you need to do an MP3, that is fine too. But since you have a gaming computer, I'm pretty sure you're going to be fine doing a WAV.
Let me save that to my desktop so I have easy access to it. I'm gonna title that.
And then Blue will put in our chat room the link for the drop for that.
Nope, 202 through 20. Nope, not 23. 203. That. Do 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 do.
It'll take a bit. It's a
Yeah.
larger file, so.
That was what, almost, those 2.5 hours roughly?
Yeah, 2 hours, 40 minutes is what I have. Almost.
Yeah, I'm at like 2:39:51.
Mm-hmm.
So almost 2.5 hours. My wife has actually went to bed right after we finished the first episode.
Nice.
So I don't know. It was funny because like she heard me from downstairs when I did the first shout out and messaged me on Discord. Was like, "Are you calling me?"
Nope.
It's like, no, that was the shout out, but I love you still.
Right. And then, yeah, once that gets uploaded there, we should be good. We should be golden. And then Blue or I will tag you in the this is live released. Like I said, it's going to be a couple weeks before this one comes out, but we will be sure to tag you in it.
Did it do it? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's open this link. Gonna drag that, drop it here. That's going to take a minute to upload.
For sure. For sure.
I don't know why I did those weird voices, but I did. So
Almost
fine.
Russian-y.
Just
It's
gonna
fine.
roll with it.
Yeah. For sure.
All right. God, it's gonna take an hour to upload. Holy crap.
Yeah, it takes a bit.
All right. Well.
But you go get some sleep. If it has any issue with uploading, Blue or I will ping you and be like, "Hey, can you try again?"
I have backups.
This is also true.
Before I get going, thanks guys for having me. This has been. If you had told me 5 years ago that I'd be on a podcast that I almost religiously listened to on night shift, I would have laughed at you. But apparently that's the case. I really love your guys' show, and
Thank you.
this has been
Thanks.
super cool to do. So one more tick off the bucket list.
Yeah, when I do a call out for people coming on again, which will be closer to like September, so I might do that. Be sure to set up if you want to do this again. You are a great guest, funny, and definitely know your stuff. So it makes it really easy for Blue and I to be like, "Hey, yeah, definitely come back."
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I'll try to in September. Though at the end of this year, that might not be possible because I actually have orders to Jolly Old England.
Oh, fun!
So the time difference will be crazy.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that's one of the benefits of our new kind of release schedule is that we actually have a bit more flexibility to do recordings on different times now. Because beforehand I had basically like 24, 48 hours to turn out an episode, but now we're 3 weeks? Like we managed. Wow. That was the silver lining of this whole. Like there was bad week at work, and I basically snapped, and I had to basically everything that was not work because we had to drop something that should have taken like 3 months, and we had 2 days to do it in. So it was a fun week. But the silver lining was it turned out when we got caught back all up, we actually now have a buffer. And it was like, I'm like, all right,
that's good.
It wasn't fun, but it's definitely, I'll take the victory.
So with that, we ended up basically, because of the weeks that we had taken off, we were able to record 3 episodes in 1 week, not just intro and advance being 1 and 2. We had 6 episodes, intro, advance, back to back to back.
Oof.
That week. It was not the same night. We did it on 3 different days.
I remember messaging Green and talking to my wife, and I was like, it's going to be a bad weekend, but if I survive, what it turns out to be is it will be worth it. And I think I'm coming on the tail end of that right now. I just finished scheduling out the drops, and it's like I have everything through this will be dropping on the 25th, I think. So no, I don't know. It'll be dropping sometime in a couple weeks. And it's like, so that's also another thing that Green and I are trying to get like used to, is like, that's weird. Okay. Gotta keep that in mind when we're talking about stuff.
About it, yeah. Because doing that hot takes about current things going on doesn't really exactly make sense when you're recording a month in advance anymore.
Right.
But
hello.
It is going to be nice.
You need a physical address. I'm not beefy.
Yep.
I'll take what I get, but
it's funny. Yes, a way ahead of schedule, Black Flag. It's going to be good. It's going to give us a lot of peace of mind, I think, for the weeks that get a little crazy.
The other cool thing is, and we're talking about this, is
there we go.
Oh, thanks. The other cool thing is, like, this gives us the opportunity to do like those focus episodes, like that you and I were talking about, Green. It's like, all right, hey, this web lore is actually really detailed, and there's a lot going on with the legacy episode or the legacy web lore. It's like, okay, but doing that in a normal episode format is gonna be tough, especially with the old format of like, all right, then I have to go back and edit it. But now we actually have the flexibility. We're like, all right, we're gonna do a Wednesday night, recording or stream or whatever, because we can. We have that flexibility to be like, all right, let's do that, and then we can do what was the other thing you had mentioned, like audiobooks, like the reading of the lore books and dropping them as audio files for anybody who doesn't have the time to sit down and read them. Or wants to have it to be, some people like to hear it being read as they're reading it themselves. There's a lot of different ways of doing that.
I would love to listen. I would love to listen to Green do the the Unmaking lore book. The one
really?
about Thorn. Is the one about Thorn?
Yeah, the one that
the
is
book of
through...
Unmaking.
Yeah. I actually have that already recorded, but it wasn't me reading it, and I actually like his version better. Wicked Jester actually read that one and recorded it for me, and I sent Blue. I think I sent you the files to that. If not, I can upload it to Google Drive.
Possibly did.
I don't. Maybe not, but I have them, and I can send them to you.
Yeah, maybe.
It's one of those things. He sent me individual cards, so it's not an audiobook form, so I still have to go back and format it to turn it into an audiobook. You do miss the audio supplements. Okay, it's good to know that you guys like those, because they are a bit of a pain to record because they're so long. Do you remember how long Maracena was?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, God, I don't even want to know. Just reading that on my own was a slog.
Maracena was an hour 45.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. The Forsaken Prince one was like 40 minutes, 30 minutes. And that was the end result. Like the actual recording and editing and all that, it was
so much
significantly longer. I mean, I think it was worth it. I think it was worth it. It was fun, but yeah.
Certain things also don't lend themselves to recording very well. Like, I have been trying for the fucking life of me to record Constellations. It is the book that I think is one of the most important books to record.
Trials and Tribulations.
Oh, Trials and Tribulations, because it's the stupid fucking formatting in the first and last card, and I cannot figure out a way that's going to make it audio-wise be distinct enough without being completely annoying as fuck to format and create. Yeah. The way I did it for you, Blue, is I literally paused between each section. I can't
imagine how annoying. Yeah, I can't imagine how annoying. Like, because I remember when you sent it to me, and I was like, maybe put static behind. Like, I'm like,
I just came up with it, which is kind of what you were saying.
What, static?
But it's not static. I would put like a tone, like a light tone.
Yeah, like a dulcet two-tone harmony.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do that, I'm gonna try. I think I'm gonna do more of like a meditation bell behind it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that would work. I mean, just something like an audio cue, because like that was like what I was trying to do the snapshots whenever I transitioned between like lore readings and the actual just thoughts. I would use the little tuk little sound to kind of
Yeah, but you can't really do that.
But you can't, because
when
it's like
it's one sentence. It's all one
blended
flow.
into it.
It's a pain, but it is fun to do, and it's super challenging as a voice actor perspective to come up with the different. But it's voice actors don't generally have to do that. It's the sound engineer that has to do it, and I'm having to play both.
Huh.
But anyway, I'm gonna let you go get some rest since you have to get up early.
Not. Tomorrow's Saturday. Well, actually, technically today is Saturday.
Yeah.
But nah. For Saturday, recalls are later in the day, so that's
Okay.
partly why I was able to stay up and record the advanced episode. If I had to be up and for a call at 6 a.m. tomorrow, I probably would have just done the intro episode and been like, "Yeah, guys, I cannot stick
That's
around."
fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I just now thought of this, but Green, for some reason, your voices reminded me of one of my hunters.
Oh, really?
I don't know why.
Your hunter character in game?
I have an entire 6-man fire team that I write stories about.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, the one of the two hunters, I didn't realize how much like influence first of all my own play style. Second, the way I've kind of seen you play Night Stalker actually influence this character.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
cool.
Very very sneaky, very stealthy,
Yeah.
and then just she's the kind of person that you won't know she's in the room until like she speaks.
I like that. I'm very flattered by that. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's
Yeah.
cool. I actually posted that tweet earlier about if you have OCs, because my character is definitely an OC of mine, Fedra.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's awesome that you're writing still.
I need to get back to it more though. I have one segment left and this fic is done.
Nice.
And I can finally put it to bed. I started writing it in 2016, 4 years ago, while I was in the desert because I was bored. I didn't bring my Xbox. The internet was garbage and I couldn't play Destiny. That was my fix at the time. So I was like, well, I used to write Halo stuff for
Why not?
the fun of it, so why not try my hand at Destiny? And oh boy, when I finally managed to get it posted somewhere, I got ripped up and down for basically just murdering the lore with a rusty spoon. I did zero research.
You know,
Oh, my
that's the fun
lord.
thing about writing and like pushing that boundary of what is accepted in lore versus what theoretically could be in lore. I think that's part of.
I think that's where Bungie actually shines too, because I think that was I think it was Margaret Stoll kind of said something along those lines where she was like, no, it's like, because that's also the point of fan fiction, right? Is you don't have to be lore 100%. Like the point is like you have fun and you write something that you enjoy. And I think that's where like Bungie as a team, for their writers, they really do embrace that philosophy. And you can go back and forth on whether or not you like it like that, but as far as like reading the stories and stuff like that, I think that's why, for me at least, it's so enjoyable, is because it's more about the emotional storytelling. It's more about the engagement and the emotional story than it is about being 100%. This is physics and blah blah and like that. Which I mean, it's fiction. It's supposed to be like that. That's science fiction in a nutshell. It's not supposed to follow logic. I mean, Stargates.
There are some pretty illogical things that have happened in this story.
Yeah.
How about a tether bolt so big it burns a hole through the side of a ship?
Mm-hmm.
Seems a little ridiculous, but hey, I had fun writing it.
I like it. I mean, Ikora took out the Cabal ship pretty easily.
Yeah, that was with an unmodified Nova Bomb.
Mm-hmm.
No Vortex, no Chaos Bolts, no Triple Lance, which I do miss that. By the way.
I'm sure. But yeah, I think the nice thing about fanfiction is that it allows you to step into the world and see things in a slightly different way and push the boundaries of what you find acceptable within the confines of what they write. You can build outside of it. I mean, Petra, I wrote for Petra for so long on Twitter, and Petra has not only the Techian powers of the knife trick, but she can also theoretically do the lift thing that Shirochi and all of them do, the actual Techians. So that has been fun to play with, because I've actually written fight scenes with Petra, and it's not easy. Not easy.
Fight scenes in Destiny are not easy to write, for at least for me, in terms of a gunfight, because I have been through, like, I haven't seen actual combat, but I've been in the training scenarios enough to where, like, it's hard to write a scene that way, which is why most of my scenes devolve into sword fights.
Yeah,
Because, like,
I
I feel like
that.
a sword fight is way easier to describe, and is way easier to coordinate and show these, a more elegant side of combat. Especially if someone, like in the picture in the private chat, is a Dawnblade. Like, hey, guess what? I'm just gonna pull this out of nowhere and just start going to town. That's also something that bothers me about the Dawnblade, is that it only does the projectile. You can't use it as a physical weapon.
That would be pretty interesting if they had that, because isn't that the whole point of all the supers, is that it's meant to be either a projectile or a defensive thing?
Yeah, but I kind of look at it like this: the Striker Titan gets two ways to use their super. You can shoulder charge and you can slam.
Right, but those are still both offensive things. You don't get both offense and defense. You can't have both a utility super and an offensive super.
That's fair. I guess that's for game balancing.
Right. I mean, I guess there's only one super that does it, and it's Sentinel. You can shield while you're walking forward, and you can throw the dang shield.
It doesn't. That's the one super that does a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
You want close range offense? Bash them. You want a little long range? Throw it. You want to protect yourself? Guard.
Black Flag. Night Stalker can kind of do it, but not very well. No. I don't think Night Stalker's nearly as good at being it's good at utility and its class abilities and stuff, but it is terrible in like a PvP setting unless you're using Mobius Quiver, which oftentimes is so fucking hard to control that it's not even worth it.
This is why I'm a Wraith in the Crucible. If I run.
I found the little frame dudes. Okay.
I use Black Bowl and just use mine to shut down supers, and you have to hit them, and even then, it's not going to immediately affect them. Yeah. Ask me how I feel about that.
You have to know. You have to really know what you're doing when you run Tether. I give proper respect to anyone that is running like top or bottom tree Night Stalker, but especially top tree Night Stalker, because you get one shot.
That's my favorite.
You get one shot with it. If you miss that shot, you are screwed.
The thing is you can't use it as, it's not a panic super. It's not it is literally a plant it and use it as bait and a trap. That's the best way I've been able to use it.
I don't use it in PvP.
I do. Yeah. I'll use.
I mean, I guess I will, but I prefer Blade Barrage because, to me, well, half the time I honestly forget I have a super. So there's that.
Speaking of Blade Barrage, kind of going back to podcast a little bit, when you walk into the moon bunker for the first time, my first reaction was door opens and she's glowing yellow, and I'm like, I'm about to get blown to pieces.
I'm in trouble.
I'm in danger.
I'm in danger.
Can we talk
I
about?
was like, oh, that's a flamethrower.
Can we talk about
pointed at her and everything, and then I realized, oh wait, I'm in PvE. This isn't gonna do anything.
There's
Right?
some amazing like design and character design for Anna this season. The cutscene with her doing the little taking out all the scions.
Oh, I
and
love
the very
that.
oh god, it's so good.
Her little
like,
shh after she knifes him. It's like
Mhm.
yes.
I
That's
love
the
that they
hunter
actually-
sass right there.
Right, they gave her the spotlight in it because we don't see Zavala fight anything besides the one shot.
Yeah.
But she
That's
gets
true,
the kind
yeah.
of spotlight in that, and that made me super happy. And then, did you
And
see her voice
that
actress
was-
do
I was
playing
about
the
to say,
violin the other day? She's
I have
cool.
not. I haven't
like
watched
her.
her the violin. I was watching. Did you see the sword when she did the
Oh,
sword
uh-huh.
outside? I was gonna say that was all of the new cutscenes with her are with that new voice actress, right?
Yes.
That was the new
Yeah.
voice. Yeah. Okay.
I believe the old ones from Warmind were actually redone with her voice.
Oh, were
actor,
they?
I
too.
think so too.
Yeah, because I ran through or at least I'm pretty sure I remember.
or they're
this
so
correctly.
close that it's very
Yeah,
hard
they're
to
either
tell.
really close or it doesn't matter. Still think my favorite Anna Bray line is Shanks. I don't know why that's one of my favorites, but for some reason that's one of my favorites.
I mean, oh my cotton socks is still going to be my favorite line from the entire game so far.
Why do the hunters get some of the best dialogue?
Because we're sassy, that's why.
It's that damn charisma score. You guys put more points in charisma than anything.
The funny thing is I think Zavala's cussed in the game, and I'm pretty sure Ikora has too.
Yeah, Ikora has.
I know
called-
Ikora has.
Yeah, Ikora has said we're gonna give that son of a bitch everything he deserves. Gina Torres is a queen.
Hmm?
I'm pretty sure Zavala has. I mean, I don't. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if he has. I would not be surprised if he has, though.
I think the closest I remember is him saying hell. He said hell twice, I believe.
Give him
Send their
Hell
souls screaming
Guardian.
back to
Shaq says it all the time.
yeah, send their souls screaming back to hell in the original Sepix Prime strike. And then of course one of his most famous times cussing the fucking light flashes when you're on Phobos and it's what the hell was that?
Hmm. Black Flag. If Lance actually cusses in Destiny, all I'm gonna see is that damn candy show or that toy shop fucking commercial that he did. That is like a promo for a show. That is the creepiest. Like, all I heard was Zavala that entire time, and I got real creeped out because it was just like, oh god,
This is
Strike
weird.
Dad is really
Strike
like a
Dad.
creepy he's a creepy old man.
I don't know if either of you watch T-Slape on Bife's channel, but I think it's either Barb or Cromar, one of the other admins that does stuff with him. But
Crowbar.
like they have soundboards of just really altered voice lines, and at one point I remember Bife comments, Lance Riddick is gonna hear your guys' voice lines. Is gonna be like, "What the hell was that?" And you guys are just gonna play Zavala saying, "What the hell was that?"
Your response is gonna be the soundboard.
Then there's gonna be this whole Spider-Man. You too?
You, you're me.
But I'm me.
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
good stuff. Good stuff.
All right, it is almost 2:30 in the morning. I am gonna get going.
Yeah,
Nice.
you should get some sleep. Get some
Yeah.
rest.
Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And until next
Stream.
time.
Definitely. Get sleep. We'll talk to you later. Stream, you guys have a great night.
Last stream.